2 weeks, 2 more days. That's how much time is left for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Good morning and welcome to the AM show. My name is Dwamena Aboagye. Now this morning, like we do every week, we'll start by serving you the AM news, bring you the latest updates on all the stories that matter to you in and around the country. And after that, we get into our news review segment. Who are our guests joining us today? Nanaya Sapom, he's political assistant to Agyemang, and Osei Kofi Akwa, he's National Communications Director of the CPP. They'll be joining us in studio to review the newspapers and the stories captured in there. And after that, Muftan Abil Abdullah will bring you AM Sports, and then we get into our big stories. Now, today is a Thursday, and on Thursdays, we bring you AM Exclusive. For today on AM Exclusive, we'll interact with a major mouthpiece for women empowerment and development in the country. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the ARC Foundation and also the chairperson of the Civic Forum Initiative. We have Dwamena Aboagye live in the studio with us for AM Exclusive. You don't want to miss that conversation. And after that, we'll take you to the Dwamena Road, where motorists were left disappointed on Tuesday after the Ghana Road Authority failed to deploy a mobile maintenance team to repair the deteriorating stretch, which has become a daily frustration for the thousands of motorists plying that route. We've had so many complaints coming in. We'll look into the matter and understand what's really going on and how we can move forward. Of course, you're invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts. Across all social media platforms, we are Joy News on TV. And hopefully, at the tail end of the show, we can open the phone line so you get to phone in and have your say. Welcome aboard the AM show. Whatever you're up to this morning, I hope that this breakfast that we serve you will be worth your while. Let's get into the AM news now. Good morning again. This is the AM News. Let's begin. A mother's tears, a family's fight, and a stranger's kindness. This is the story of 10-year-old Lisa Laye, diagnosed with cancer of the blood. Her family sold everything to save her, but still fell short. Today, there is help in the offing as CEO of Engineers and Planners and Jetta Cement steps in to cover out the over $100,000 bone marrow transplant in South Africa. Emmanuel Jibianu is on that beat and reports.
In this quiet hospital corridor, Lisa's family clings to her smile on her phone screen. It is the only thread keeping them connected to the 10-year-old who once filled their home with laughter. Now, she fights for her life, battling stage 4 leukemia.
Lisa went for career day at school, and then my mother was called by the school authorities that Lisa was complaining of body pains. And so on 1st November 2024, that's 3 weeks ago, she was taken to the hospital for treatment for common cold or maybe malaria. We were suspecting malaria because of the symptoms she was exhibiting.
Just weeks ago, Lisa was all bubbly in school. She loves her books, friends, and dreams of becoming a pediatrician. But on October 31, her world changed. A headache and cold spiraled into a diagnosis no family is ever prepared to hear.
I was devastated when the news was broken to me that Lisa has been diagnosed with stage 4 leukemia, which happens to be the cancer of the blood and bone marrow.
Sorry. Her survival now depends on urgent treatment in South Africa, costing over $100,000. A sum her family simply could not afford.
I had started selling my assets and it wasn't getting anywhere. I have sold my little plot of land that I had, but it still didn't amount to anything.
We are here pleading on your behalf.
Desperation drove the family to social media, sharing Lisa's story and pleading for help. The post went viral, catching the attention of a man known for his generosity, the CEO of Engineers and Planners and Jetta Cement, Ibrahim Mahama.
We are taking over everything. That's what we are doing. It's not about the costs. I mean, we may spend more than that, but Mr. Ibrahim doesn't look at the cost when it comes to saving somebody's life. He always give the instructions, say that, oh, whatever that you have to do to make sure the person is okay, the person is well, you save the person's life, you go ahead and do it. So that's why we went ahead. We didn't look at the cost of it. It's not about the cost, but making sure that we get Lisa to South Africa and for her to go through the procedure. And we have the doctors on standby and the nurses as well.
Finally, the beautiful girl is smiling.
Lisa will leave to South Africa accompanied by her family and doctors. It is the beginning of a critical fight, but one she no longer has to face alone.
I would like to use this medium to thank him and say, may Almighty God bless him and increase him. And Lisa is grateful. God bless him.
Lisa's journey is far from over, but thanks to an act of kindness, she now has a chance to see her dream of becoming a pediatrician come true. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Ridge Hospital.
Now, with just 16 days to the presidential elections in Ghana, amidst fears of plots of mayhem in certain parts of the country, the GRA Customs Division has uncovered 53 pistols, 74 magazines and 65 live ammunition concealed in a 40-footer container at the Tema port. According to the Customs Division of GRA, the container came in from the United States of America, with the items concealed in 3 different suitcases. The shipment, falsely declared as vehicles and personal effects, was intercepted on November 4, 2024, following investigations by GRA's Intelligence and Preventive Unit. Brigadier General Zibrim Ayorogo, Commissioner of Customs, confirmed arrests have been made as investigations continue. Here's more.
Following the notification, personnel of GRA Intelligence and Investigation Unit and the Customs Preventive Unit arrived at the scene and confirmed the 53 sidearms, the 74 magazines, and 65 live ammunition concealed in 3 different suitcases. The firearms, magazines, and the live ammunition were seized. Additionally, all other items in the container were thoroughly examined and detained for further investigations. Also, the agent and the consignee representative were also arrested and interrogated on the seized items. The suspect was subsequently transferred to the Marine and Railway Police Station Tema for further investigations. As earlier indicated, the consignment in the container were declared as vehicles and personal effect without declaring the sidearms, magazines, and the live ammunition. The non-declaration and the concealment on the firearms and magazines and live ammunition amount to smuggling and concealment of weapons in contravention of Section 138 of Customs Act 2015, Act 891.
Brigadier General Zibrim Ayorogo warned that any person who imports ammunition without the requisite license or permits commits crime and therefore will be made to face the law.
It is worthy of note that all importers requiring to import firearms and ammunition into the country must first obtain license and permit from the Ministry of Interior before the import. Any person who therefore import firearms and ammunition without the requisite license or permit commits an offense.
Now, security consultant Professor Kwesi Ening says nothing will happen with this find because people in authority are not concerned about finding solutions. He spoke on Top Story yesterday.
It's going to change because those who must bring change are those who are secretly involved in bringing these guns and also in providing the protection. So nothing is going to change. I think something very dramatic happens that puts our collective existence at risk. Nothing is going to change because we are not serious about the issues of small arms and light weapons. Look, when I did the first national baseline survey in 2005, my calculations were that we had about 500,000 to 750,000 guns. The normal attrition rate of 20% means that when we did the baseline survey again in 2014, the figures ought to have dropped by 20%. Rather, they had shot up by almost 400%. And I'm 100% sure that when we complete the new baseline survey next year, the figure will definitely be considerably higher than the 2 million that we found 10 years ago. Because there is no deterrence, people feel they are protected, that they can go around the law, that they can go scot-free, and it's also very profitable.
So if I get you, then the agent who has been arrested, you are saying that nothing will come out of that?
Well, let's see in 6 months' time what would have come out of it. But the poor agent is not a big guy or person who needs to be caught. We need to use a network analytical process to see those who are linked. Trace the money. The paperwork can be falsified, but the money cannot be falsified. Check the phones, the laptops, and then one step at a time, use network theory and procedures to get to who is the kingpin or the queenpin behind this.
And now let's get into our election headquarters, which is brought to you in association with Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty. And CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and AICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bread Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, Syntex Tanks, A Strong, A Tough. Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate, Deluxe Paint, Paint Smooth Champion. Now, from our election headquarters this morning, the Ghana Police Service is shifting gears with just days to the 2024 general election, adopting a transparent and proactive approach in its engagement with the media and the public. Traditionally tight-lipped, the police's limited communication with stakeholders has drawn criticism over the years. However, with just 16 days to the December polls, the police now pledge to increase transparency, enhance public engagement, and provide timely information. At a critical meeting with media heads, Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, outlined his fresh strategies, including the establishment of a 24-hour centralized press briefing center to keep the public informed throughout the election period. We'll tell you more.
The police service, much to the dislike of civil society organizations and the general public, they have been very tight-lipped about information. While we count the days to the December 7 polls, the Ghana Police says that posture will change. At a crucial meeting between the Ghana Police Service and the heads of media institutions in the country, the Ghana Police Service says they are now committed to updating the public on a regular basis throughout the election period. Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare is the IGP of the Ghana Police Service.
We are setting up National Election Security Task Force Press Briefing Center. You can come, we'll serve you with coffee, we'll serve you with tea, and of course biscuit. And we will be sharing the information with the speed of light. We are currently working with the telcos to assign to us a dedicated number that will be used in this room. Wherever you find yourself, when there is a situation, you can, through calling that number, access myself directly.
Additionally, the police says they will be more proactive in their dealings with the political parties and also dealing with election-related disputes.
We'll be able to be dealing with multiple issues at the same time, because as soon as it comes, we'll then refer, a commissioner will be on it. We may call a general secretary of the two parties or national organizers of the two parties. We will call an agent of the parties on the ground, and we look at the issue. But IGP Dampare says the police will not hesitate in dealing with troublemakers. To the people who think that they can probably come out making statements to intimidate and do all that. We want to tell them that life will become very uncomfortable for them. So they shouldn't even try.
The expectation of the Ghana Police Service is to deliver the best election in Ghana that is free from violence. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Still in the election headquarters, it was 15 days of promises and assurances by the flag bearer of Dr. Mamudu Bawumia in the Ashanti region as he toured constituencies there. From rallies to debates, marketplaces and religious institutions, Dr. Bawumia reiterated policies of the NPP ahead of the polls in December. Here's a recap of a few of them.
Perhaps the best news was when Dr. Mamudu Bawumia indicated that government will from December 1 provide free dialysis treatment for all kidney patients under the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Kidney dialysis has become expensive and a lot of patients are unable to pay for their treatment. From December 1, all patients will receive free treatment under the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Then he talked about the housing deficit.
Accommodation, housing, and some edijuma bebre eba.
We are coming to construct houses across all districts, and just as Nana said, we will do it and create jobs for the people.
The flag bearer then promised to make miners in the country millionaires if elected as president.
We will introduce the common user facility and gold catcher machines to support miners. I am going to make you millionaires while you mine responsibly.
I'm going to make you millionaires. Millionaires. I'm going to make you millionaires.
On electricity, he promised to reduce the cost of the commodity by 50%. Now hear him promise to establish an all-inclusive government if elected president. Dr. Bawumia also sought the support of religious leaders and traditional rulers to solidify the NPP's base in the region. Aside the call messages, Dr. Mamudu Bawumia continued to challenge the NDC's presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama to a presidential debate.
Osi onidi waye juma sinye. Mesi uji uhundia sa waye juma bra na yenye debate one-on-one. Mika sano osuro wejani tisanko kwa nkiti. Wejani. Mami Monfastiano. Mami Monfastiano. Mami Asoko Adistiano. Mami Medamwase.
NDC running mate, Professor Nana Jane Agyemang has clarified that the proposed Women's Development Bank is not intended to pit women against men, but to ease the burden on men and support families. Speaking in Guli on the final day of her Upper West Region campaign tour, she stated that the initiative, when implemented, will address critical challenges facing families. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Professor Nana Jane Agyemang rounded a two-day campaign tour of the Upper West region at Gole in the West Central constituency. The Gole community is a predominant NDC stronghold. Paramount Chief of the Gole traditional area, Nasir Ibrahim Nobalanang, who doubles as a former member of the Council of State, spoke about the passage of the Affirmative Action Bill, what it seeks to bring to the development of women in the country. Nasir Ibrahim, who arguably is the longest-served district chief executive in the country, asserted that the nomination of Professor Nana Jane Agyemang as the vice presidential candidate of the NDC is a test case for women, urging them to rally behind her to succeed to become the second most powerful person in the country.
Ghanaian women are very sincere and committed to being liberated and giving equal opportunities. This is the time we hope to see that. And I believe that if Ghanaian women fail to support Professor Nana to be the first vice president of the Republic of Ghana, it will be a chance they will be losing. And it will take them a long time to come by it. So the Ghanaian women rise, rise.
Professor Nana Jane Agyemang, on her part, spoke about the NDC's plan to establish the Women Development Bank should they be given the nod in next month's polls.
In the wisdom of the party and of that of His Excellency, the proposal is to create a Women's Development Bank, a bank that is sensitive to our needs. We don't want all the money in the world. We just want a little bit to push our businesses, to grow them. We want the interest to be very low so that even when we make profit, we can put profit back into our business. We can also use some to take care of our children, to take care of the home.
She posited that the establishment of the bank is not to set up women against men, but to lessen the burden of the latter.
It works both ways. It is not one thing against the other. We are not interested in that because we have a nation to build, we have a nation to reset, and we don't admit those unnecessary divisions. We think we have too many to begin with, and we don't need to add any more to them.
The NDC running mate threw further light on the party's 24-hour economy policy, which he said will employ millions of people, especially the youth, into the security services.
So what are we going to do about our youth? Our response is to create the 24-hour economy so that instead of just one shift, you can have 3 shifts. So instead of employing 50 people, you will end up employing 150 people. If the businessman needs protection, that is why we will recruit people into the security services. And I believe that when the time comes, some of the people I see here will also be part of that employment package.
While Central Member of Parliament, Dr. Rosida Sampelepu, who is seeking re-election, spoke about the monumental development that the NDC has brought to the Ward Central constituency. I strongly maintain that the NDC is solely responsible for every development in Wa. All the roads at the heart of the municipality was put up by the NDC. This electricity we are using is from the NDC. Our hospitals, schools, and our university was constructed by the NDC. When you speak about it, some people will tell you that they are not aware of it. I'm charging all of you to spread the word about the good things the NDC has done in the West Central constituency. Reporting for Dwayne News, Rafik Salam, Bole.
Now, away from our election headquarters, the Member of Parliament for Gushegu constituency, Alhassan Suleiman Atumpuli, has expressed worry over the shortfall of teachers in the Gushegu district of the Northern region. According to the MP, only 42 teachers out of the 75 teachers posted to the area reported to duty due to the lack of accommodation. He said this in response to this challenge that he has constructed a 5-bedroom teacher quarters to help accommodate the teachers. And the MP also handed over classroom blocks to 7 communities in the constituency.
The construction of the school blocks and the teachers' quarters is expected to enhance quality teaching and learning in the area. Some of the communities that benefited from the infrastructure included Nakun, Ga, Katani, Tendang, among others. Speaking to the media after the handing over, the Member of Parliament for Gushegu, Alhassan Suleiman Atumpuli, said the motive behind the intervention is to get teachers stay in the community.
We have found out that a lot of times some teachers have been posted to Gushegu. 75 teachers have been posted to Gushegu, and only 42 have reported to duty. The rest of them found various reasons why they couldn't come. And my information is that the most important consideration for declining to come to the constituency has always been lack of accommodation, especially in the smaller communities. I took the initiative to provide 5-bedroom teachers' quarters at Ga community, and also another 5-bedroom teachers' quarters at Nakunga, another 5-bedroom teachers' quarters here in Tendang. Earlier, I've provided teachers accommodation for teachers in Zinindo and also for teachers in Panache. All in all, we plan to do some amount of clustering, provide additional classroom block for teachers in the Ga electoral area to be stationed in Ga, so that they will be sleeping in Ga and then they will move on a daily basis to surrounding communities to teach, and when they are done, they will come and sleep in Ga.
The chief of Nakun, Nagafarubawa, said the MP's intervention is a relief, adding that they will reward him when the time comes. Some of the teachers spoke to Joy News.
We are very happy for the renovation and then the building of the 5-room teachers' quarters for the school or the community. Initially, when the school was not renovated, we were having a lot of challenges because the kids, some of them in the class, one may fall and then the child will get some, sometimes the doors and other things, when it rains, goats and sheep will come and urinate inside. So it was not helping, because when you come to school, you have to sweep, then you wash the classroom before teaching and learning can take place.
Because I was living in that room, and then I used not to come to school early, but now I will even come to school at dawn.
It will go a long way to help we the teachers who are here to stay and be at post at all times, so that we'll be able to have contact hours with our people. We're more than the rooms provided initially. So we're pairing 3, 3, 4, 4 in a room. So now that this building has been put up, I think the number we'll be able to pair like 1 in a room. I think it will go a long way to help.
Get into our business update with Benjamin Akakpo.
Welcome to Business. In our first story, local rice farmers say the patronage of locally produced rice has picked up ahead of the Yuletide. In an interview with Joy Business, President of the Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body, Nana J. Ayer II, appealed to the public to prioritize locally produced rice over imported brands to boost the country's local production capacity.
We are just entering the season, and if you hear what is happening, we are doing well. We are doing well, but again, we will advise or plead with consumers of rice in Ghana to look at the Ghana rice. We have come a long way from 10 years ago to now. Our grains has improved, okay? And consuming Ghana rice or buying Ghana rice for your families this Christmas is a good thing to do. So today, I want the Ghanaian consumer who is sitting at home today to know that the Ghana-made rice has come a long way, and we are neck and neck with the imported rice, if not better than the imported rice.
Now, the Deputy Chief Executive of Africa-based Network of Digital Payment Schemes, Africa NENDA, Sabine Mensah, is calling on African governments to incentivize the instant payment system ecosystem in their countries and make them all accessible. According to her, governments need to provide a conducive environment to enhance inclusivity and growth of digital payment systems in Africa. She was speaking at the launch of the State of Inclusive Instant Payment Systems in Africa 2024 report.
For the adoption of digital payment system, incentives that make these payment systems accessible to all, so making sure that the connectivity infrastructure is anywhere, any area, any rural area in our countries, making sure that the payment system are affordable to all of us at a price point, whereas it won't matter anymore because we know the value that digital is going to bring to us. It is more than cash, so we will use it. And making sure also that these systems are safe and that our consumers are protected in the digital economy. That is my call to all of the governments, because again, as we said during the meeting, it takes a village to make it happen.
And that's how we cap off business this morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Aboagye.
Thank you, Ben. Let's get ready for the news review segments coming up shortly. We'll be back in a bit.
Thank you very much for staying with us, and I have to go, ho, ho, ho. No, it's not Christmas, but my colleague Sweetie Aboagye has been singing Christmas carols throughout the morning, so ho, ho, ho. The joy came early on the AM show. You see,
Merry
she's decked in
Christmas, everyone.
She's decked in the forest green, so even before elections, Christmas has come for her. But we are joined this morning by our guests for the news review. Nana Yaw Sapong is political assistant to the Alad Trematin campaign. We also have Osei Kofi Akwa, National Communications Director of the CPP. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
So usually on the AM show, we give our guests a minute and a half, at most 2 minutes, to walk us through their trail of thoughts. What's the most topical thing on your mind this morning? Let's start with you.
Well, good morning to you and your viewers. The Convention People's Party is on the campaign, and we've come up with about 3 flagship programs. The Ghana shares. We also have the agro show. And then we also, let me go through the Ghana shares and then agro show. Then I'll come to the rest of the flagship programs. So we have always said the Ghanaian farmer has not really got the best of life. They go to the farm early in the morning, come back late in the evening, and what they get is peanuts. This is because after the harvest, it is the buyer who comes to the roadside, buy the food by giving the Ghanaian farmer the price that they want. The Convention People's Party is offering the Ghanaian farmer a choice. This 2024, vote for the Convention People's Party. And this time, government will be the first buyer of every harvest that the farmer harvests. That is the agro show. And what it means is that young people will be assured of getting good prices when they venture into farming. So that is what the agro show is about.
Okay, you'd have to be quick on the other one because you have literally 2 minutes and you've spent
so then
all
we have also the Ghana shares, where we believe that every district, every town has got their own God-given natural resources. If you go to somewhere in the Ashanti region, say Agyemang will be just out, they harvest more of ginger. What we are saying is that we are going to put up a factory in that district where that factory is going to be resourced by the ginger, and then they can have a ginger factory. This factory is going to be owned by the people within that community. And that is what we mean by the Ghana shares, where every citizen, every Ghanaian living in that community become a shareholder of that company that will be established there. This is not like the one district, one factory where certain individuals who are party affiliates are giving, what do you call it? They are giving priority over other Ghanaians who could have also been stakeholders in the same factory. So basically, that's what I want to talk about now. Yes.
Right, okay. Nana Yaw Sapong.
Yes, so good morning once again. So basically, I also want to touch on 2 things. First one is misinformation that is going around, and it's being created by a young man called Ohiniba Nana Siedu of another media house. It's political, so I think that I have to state it, of Wontumi TV. Now, what he's done is that he's made a video.
Let's try to stay away from mentioning other brands.
He's made a video that is going around saying that election 2024 December is going to be held on 2 different counts, and that the day 1 is from candidate 1 to 7, and day 2 is from candidate 8 to 13. And this is misinformation. And I think that the Ghana Police Service should be able to invite him. He's misinforming, he's miseducating, and they do not need somebody to make a complaint. We have taken the initiative of sending this video to the commissioner, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. We've sent it to Samuel Tete.
Right.
We've also put it on the presidential candidates platform, and we've sent it to the IGP. They ought to be able to arrest this gentleman and put him before court.
Okay.
This is dangerous, actually.
This is
so
very
the person is basically saying, and you look at the political slant.
Yes.
So 1 to 7, and then 8 being the number of
Yes.
the NDC, and then
the 13,
the 13,
is my candidate.
the last number being your candidate.
Yes.
From 8 to 13, supposedly day 2, which is a lie.
Yes. This is not the first time they started it. That one we are still looking for the video about the dollar, where they were going into the villages and saying that if you have a dollar, you have a lot of cedis on your hands. And so if you change the government, they will reduce the number of cedis that you're going to get to a dollar. We actually reported it to the Bank of Ghana that they should take charge and arrest those gentlemen.
Do you know whether anything was done?
No, that was the early days when this dollar to a cedi was around 16 cedis, and we actually reported them to some of these institutions. And I think they are doing a disservice to this nation. You don't put out this kind of information just because you want to gain political power. It's out of desperation. It's out of desperation and frustration, in my view. I mean,
and it's a thinking that Ghanaians are stupid.
Yes.
It's in a subtle way thinking
but the point
Ghanaians
is that
are
most
foolish.
of our mothers and our fathers, about this dollar, I got a call from a former client in Sesreso, off the Doma getting to Cote d'Ivoire, because she is a businesswoman. She buys these cashew nuts. So she was a bit surprised. And because I was in the banking, she called and was like, Nana, is this true? I was like, I was actually one who said this can happen. So it's going down there. And so you would end up, when the Electoral Commission is pushing that a lot of people should go out there and vote, when we are all pushing people to go out there and vote on the 7th of December, then you have an educated Ghanaian young man who have access to a platform, data, sit to misinform the whole nation.
So we have to make tracks, but two things come to mind.
I'll share the video with your producer.
Please do, and also share whatever follow-ups you get, whether there will be any action from the EC, from the Ghana Police Service, and others. Because this is not misinformation, this is disinformation. It is intentional. Yeah. The person knows exactly what.
And it's
if
criminal.
It is true, then the person knows what he's doing. But let's get into the papers now.
Okay, I start. Daily Guide newspaper. NDC code thugs attack NPP Zongo team. I was just catching up on the story to be sure that they're actually NDC thugs. But apparently the story says that these are people who were seen in branded NDC shirts, and they, after whatever they did, they entered an NDC branded vehicle. We'll get to that in a bit. On election 2024, you're safe with us. The IGP assures the media. Yesterday they met with the management of all media houses, I think, and Dr. George Ekufudampare gave that speech. So Cheddar makes inroads on constituencies tour. Okwe Jr. roots for Bawumia. Kozie's Champions League unveils hidden talents. Herbert Krapper is energy minister. Let's get straight into the stories. I want to start with the IGP's assurance to the public that we are safe with the police service. And that story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. The Ghana Police Service has assured the media of its commitment to their safety during the 2024 general election. And this assurance was highlighted during a stakeholder engagement in Accra yesterday at the police headquarters between the police leadership, led by Inspector General of Police Dr. George Ekufudampare, senior journalists and news editors. And IGP Dr. Ekufudampare emphasized that the media is a key stakeholder in this year's election, and as such requires the protection and support of the police to effectively fulfill its responsibilities. Working word here, protection. No journalist should be attacked for doing their job. That should be the focus. Cheddar makes inroads on constituencies tour. Herbert Krapper is energy minister, of course. President Nana Akufo-Addo has elevated the Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy, Herbert Krapper, to a substantive Minister of Energy for, quote, contributing significantly to the progress and stability of Ghana's energy sector. Now, according to the President, Mr. Krapa, again, quote, has demonstrated exceptional diligence, professionalism, and steadfast commitment to his duties, contributing significantly to the progress and stability of Ghana's energy sector. I want to run through the main stories in here, and then I'll come to you, gentlemen. Alan, touch not the anointed. This is an editorial. New NGO launched at Drobo, and in Pakistan, suicide bombing kills several. Uganda's Kizza Besigye kidnapped in Kenya, taken to military court, and Ukraine fires UK-supplied Storm Shadow missiles. Now, there's a story about NDC thugs attacking NPP Zongo team, a group of thugs believed to be associated with the opposition National Democratic Congress. On Monday, disrupted a campaign organized by the National Zongo campaign team of the New Patriotic Party at Tyne in the Bono region, and videos making rounds capture the quote thugs, some of whom were wearing NDC-branded T-shirts, dismantling tents mounted by the NPP group at the Bruhani community, while attendants at the campaign events looked on, and they were then seen jumping into an NDC-branded pickup vehicle after the distraction. Okwe Junior roots for Bawumia. Cheddar makes inroads is here again. Kozier's Champions League unveils hidden talents. On the anti-LGBTQ case, Supreme Court delivers judgment on December 18. So the Supreme Court will deliver judgment on December 18. The Supreme Court has set December 18 to give its judgment in two separate cases challenging the passage of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2024. We look forward to what that judgment will be. NPP blows alarm on NDC election plot. This has been going on all week. Customs sees arms at Tema Port, and this is where I want to end. So the Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority on Monday intercepted a massive consignment of illicit arms and ammunition at the Tema Port. The weapons, which included 53 pistols, 65 pieces of live ammunition, 75 magazines, and a PC holster, were intercepted at the Golden Jubilee Terminal at the port. And the seizure followed a routine inspection by the customs officers at the Golden Jubilee Terminal on November 15th, during which they uncovered the firearms concealed in 3 suitcases in a 40-footer container from the United States of America. I do not know what the link is to elections, but what is this enthusiasm around arms these days in this country? But gentlemen, this is where I'll end. Let's get into it. Let me start with you, Kofi. What will be your reflection on these stories?
Well, first of all, I agree with the IGP that Ghanaians must be safe before, during, and after the elections. That is their mandate per the Constitution. They are supposed to maintain law and order in this country. And of course, we have ourselves a Constitution which states that there will be election in every 4 years. The Electoral Commission will conduct that elections. And when Ghanaians cast their votes, when Ghanaians finally make decisions, the Electoral Commission shall declare who Ghanaians want to lead this country. And so this is more of a pure law and order activity, which has no room for hooliganism and all that. So it is the duty of the Ghana Police Service to make sure that not only journalists, but Ghanaians as a whole are all safe. And what happened at that time, raises the question of whether indeed the IGP means what he said. Because I believe there is a district or perhaps a police service at time. So what intelligence did they pick about a supposed rally that was impending? Did they provide security? Why did we see what we saw in the videos where, you know, a supposed rally was taking place and then all of a sudden people were dismantling tents and all that? Why did we see that? So, Mr. IGP, it's about time you walk the talk. Let me put it that way. You walk the talk. At least if you have taken a stand that every Ghanaian must be safe before, during, and after the elections, then this communique should go down to the district, should go down to every police station and every police post, so that the police service are seen as being ready for the task ahead.
Right.
Now, let me go to, quick on the arms that have been intercepted at the port. Yeah. Like you asked, what is the big deal about arms in this country these days, especially prior to the elections? I think that even though these arms were intercepted, we should have kept it from the public. I mean, there's the intelligence bureau at the Ghana Armed Forces, the national security and all that. Already there's so much tension in the pending elections.
Is there?
Yeah, of course. You saw people dismantling tents at time. It could have degenerated into anything. So when
I want to disagree slightly because I think the Kwadwo report said that there's a very calm atmosphere. It's not a politically charged climate as we think it is.
Well, I've been around the country. Yes. I've been to the grassroots constituencies and all that, and I'm telling you that it's very charged. I mean, we've seen the blame game on. You talked about the blame game going on between the NPP and the NDC about a certain, and I have it here. I think I'll mention it. It is charged, and coming events cast their shadows. Look, let's not play. Let's not pretend that's all okay. I believe some time ago the Ivorians thought that it was just a normal elections until it became something else. Okay. So what I'm saying is that. When such arms, when certain things like this, which frightens the public, which cause fear and panic, let me put it that way, is apprehended by the security forces, there's a way they have to go about it. Because if I pick up the papers or I watch Joy News this morning, and I'm hearing for the first time that these are arms which have been confiscated at the port, and they were being brought in illegally, I should be worried.
Okay.
I should be scared.
We need to move on.
Yes. So to me, I think that we should handle it very well.
Okay. I want to play the devil's advocate and ask. You are saying that if someone was watching us for the first time this morning, I heard you say that it's a politically charged climate. Wouldn't that also, cause any kind of fear?
But the point is, it is the truth as it is. Okay. And this wake-up call is not meant for the public. It's meant for the security service. All right. Okay. That this is the atmosphere we're dealing with. They have to rise up to the occasion.
All right, thank you. Nana Yasapo.
Sweetie, I just want to start from where my brother ended. That has to do with the IGP's call that we should feel safe with them. Of course, as the head of police, he has to give us that level of assurance that indeed we are in safe hands and that indeed nothing is going to happen. We're just going to vote, get the votes counted, we declare the results, we have the winner, and then we go to our homes, either in white or otherwise. And so it's a good call. We appreciate his honesty in telling us that we are safe. But one thing in joining it to the arms issue is that there is some level of political tension. Let us not sweep it under the carpet. There is some level of political tension. If you look at what is happening, even from the Supreme Court case on Ghana's parliament, where most of us are of the view that looking at what was happening or what did happen at the Supreme Court, if there are issues, we would not want to run to the court. You understand? And it means that there's going to be a lot of tension at the polling stations. Because the Supreme Court told us that elections are not won in the court. Elections are won at the polling station. They have proven to us that even where Parliament has its own rules and has its own regulations and procedures, if you bring it to the court, it is otherwise. It means that you have to take your destiny into your own hands. And so the police should be prepared and should be ready to actually help to deal with issues at the polling station level. And so that assurance is very much important. And I think that it is timely also. Today, I think the IGP will be meeting political parties and independent presidential candidates and their representatives. And I believe that it is the same call that he's going to put out to us and also assure us. But the issue about this gentleman putting out that information and actually turning things upside down and trying to put Ghanaians into, you used a term, disinform Ghanaians on the processes and the procedures and the dates of election should be taken up. Okay. And I just sent it to the Peace Council, a representative Peace Council who called yesterday inviting us to a program. And I just texted him, I told him that, listen, take action on this one and then we will know that indeed you are prepared to have peace. You understand? If this gentleman is picked up, we would all be scared to do otherwise. Okay. Now, just a quick one. I want to congratulate Herbert Krapper on his appointment as the substantive Minister for Energy. Right. I have had the opportunity to work with him when he was Deputy Minister for Trade, in charge of international trade. He's a fine brain, fine gentleman, and very hardworking. And I enjoyed the few moments I had with him at the Trade Ministry. And he's a fine brain. It's unfortunate that he has been given the appointment at a time where yesterday I was hearing that there will be about 3 or so shutdowns of plants and all the hula balloons. But
by the end of this week,
by the end of this week. But I know he's strong enough. I know he's strong enough. I know he has the level of intelligence and lobbying skills that will be able to put to use for Ghana. Because 18 days to elections, we do not want to... Actually. 16. We do not want to experience doom so on the 7th or the 8th of December. No, not when the counting is ongoing.
So, you know, Ben, I'm sorry. Ben, you know how you talk about sleeping in darkness? No, it just clicked and I needed to get this out. Yesterday, I didn't have light.
Yes, my lights went off around 11.
I just kept thinking, oh, Ben was right. So this morning, when you talked about energy, I'm like, yeah, it happened to me too.
Krapper is coming at the difficult times of Ghana's energy sector. But as a young man, he has gotten the opportunity to make a name for himself, to make a name for the Ghanaian.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
At least when it comes to this power situation, yesterday I knew that some places, yesterday into today, this morning, some places in Adenta. Yes. I'm saying some because I know someone who shared, and then part of Spintex as well.
Yes, I had lights out around 10 or so. It came after.
You are in that enclave?
It came around so you see? 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, so because people called me from these places.
But I think it's...
Which means you've never experienced doom so.
No,
but I have.
Baby, I was saying that...
Maybe after the victory.
You should have listened to her. Well, 2 days ago, I had a power outage till morning.
Okay, so I said the same fate with you 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what is happening, but there's some every 3, 4, 5 days.
Yes.
But honestly, to be biased, I think that I like the personality of Krapper. And I believe he is able to lobby these independent...
I know Krapper. We have to move. I know Krapper, but the point basically is that when it comes to these things, no one cares about personality.
Exactly.
I mean... Krapper is someone... Nanaya, Krapper is someone I know.
Yes.
As a person, for what he stands for.
Yes.
Excellent figure. No one cares when it comes to the deliverables. Exactly. It's kind of like the Black Stars and then the manager of the team saying, Ghanaians are attaching emotions to the issue because they played well on the pitch. The only thing is that they didn't score and qualify, which is nonsense to me. The end game.
That is not where I'm coming from.
That's not where I'm coming from. Did you win? Oh, we played good football, but we didn't win.
Listening to the interviews your station granted yesterday to some experts and other things, what I noticed was that the independent power producers who are threatening to shut down need some level of assurances. All right, need some level of assurance.
So and I'm saying this issue has been going on for forever.
Well,
it's not, don't come and tell me about IPP.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. Okay, when it comes to the production of electricity, I think that government has been lazy. Government lacks the technical know-how because we, the CPP, has always advocated for a cheaper means of electricity. What will it cost for Ghana to embark on a full-scale solar energy? What about wind energy? What about extra hydro dams? Okay, so we go and bring in these plants, okay? Get virtually generators. We fuel them, we service them and all that, which is very costly. So the point is that...
The president said all this will be over shortly. So please...
We've heard this over and over again. There was even cut out a phrase for us.
Okay.
This one too shall pass.
He commissioned...
And we are still in it.
You see,
let's get
and let's not forget that we had the plan for Pualugu, about $1 billion.
Yes.
And it's amounted to nothing.
If you have read the Great Transformational Plan by Alan very well, the energy sector, it has a section that deals with energy security and diversification. One major issue we identify.
You have to make this
brief. Very brief. Has to do with infrastructure at the energy sector and finance.
When you say infrastructure, what do you mean?
Infrastructure, as you were talking about, the infrastructure currently that is supporting our energy generation, some have been there since Kwame Nkrumah's time. Even the maintenance and the renewing of these infrastructures are something else. You've gone to some areas and you will notice that even the transformers in those areas, it's in itself causes more waste in the system than...
But you do know the ECG is in phases taking out some of this. And you also know that part of the problem is the cost of
That's
this
what I'm saying, the
equipment.
financing of it.
It's crazily expensive.
Yes, the financing of it.
And the reason we are here is because we don't plan.
We don't plan.
If we were planning, you would identify, because it makes sense. Your population is expanding.
It's expanding. So
electrification, especially in rural areas, will have to expand. You must give Rawlings his credit for that.
You are moving into industrialization.
As it's expanding, if you are not matching up,
if you are
moving
get caught with industrialization. And so you see, if you go to Takrady,
we don't even have to go to the industrial part of it.
The industrial parks that were proposed by Alan, you will notice that in those industrial parks, it is designed in such a way that those industrial parks themselves have their own power.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll have another opportunity so that maybe we can talk about.
And it happened when it was.
We can talk about.
But that's they are ongoing. I mean,
Kofi, we have to get into your paper.
So say Kofi, please hold for us. Quickly, let's get into the New Republic. My issue though with that first, the banner headline is you see.
Okay.
If you're going to beef,
yes,
right, you might as well beef well. And if you're going to poke a jab at someone, you might
poke harder.
No. You spell tortoise wrongly, and you are trying to, jab.
Oh, okay.
Without the O.
Oh,
New Republic.
I didn't even realize it.
But go ahead.
So the New Republic says Tortoise Akufo-Addo finally completes flower pot flyover after 8 years, whilst John Mahama was to complete it in 2 years. I wonder what he was thinking about. So President Akufo-Addo's assertion made during the inauguration of the interchange at the flower port in Accra, that the project reflects his government's vision, has been rebuffed by all informed Ghanaians familiar with the construction details of the interchange. However, it is important to note that the interchange, which the Akufo-Addo administration is finalizing in 2024, 8 years after it was contracted by the Mahama government, was initially scheduled to be completed within 2 years. Documents related to the original project contract revealed that the Mahama government had set a completion target of 2018 instead of 2024. The contract was awarded to contractors MS China Railway by the Mahama government on November 14, 2016, with the Chinese company committed to finishing the project within 2 years. A letter of acceptance from the Department of Urban Roads sent to the contractors after their bid submission officially communicated the award of the project.
So for the sake of time, we don't read so much, but just some quick thoughts so that as you speak, you might as well respond to them. One, over the years, the original cost, something the minority raised, that the original cost rose from 69, is it million?
Yes.
Yeah, million Ghana cedis to 700 million Ghana cedis. Now, the NRA has come to say that it was because of the increased scope of work. But there are reactions from Urban Roads, others saying that these postulations don't exactly wash. From where we sit, that's one of the cankers in this country, where you start a project that is 5 million, somehow a year after, 2 years after, 3 years after, that same project balloons to 25 million. 50 million. What is it that we alone, like we do, such that our projects, of course, you know that over time, maybe there will be cost differentials, but even in construction, proper construction, room is made for those excesses. Yes. But we always balloon, and I'm not just talking about this project. What is it? You can add that to any thoughts you
We are corrupt. That's what we are. We are corrupt. So a government awards a contract, doesn't see the light of day, there's a change of government. And because you are not the person who negotiated the contract, when you are in government, you also want your 10%, your 5% and all that. So the whole thing boils down to corruption, which the Convention People's Party wants to fight head on. We are saying that we are going to make sure that bidding for contracts becomes as open as it should be. Again, we are going to always continue where governments left off. We are not going to abandon projects that was started by Rawlings, which has been left to rot. We are not going to abandon projects that was started by...
We get the point. We get the point.
Yes.
For the sake of time, you don't have to mention all the names.
So what I mean is that it is becoming as if it's deliberate, okay? Where, a government comes to power and decide that, okay, it's also my time to chop. And so even though this contract was awarded at this price, why don't we expand the cost a bit? And then blame it on what you were pointing out, which is their excuse, okay? So with time, prices increased and all that. They give all those...
but the increments must make sense.
Well, I agree, but the point is that they don't think like you, okay? Like I said, they want their 10%. I mean, the previous government have taken their 5% or 10%, and it's their time to chop. And so you see all these funny figures being channeled out. So it is what it is. But I don't get where it was supposed to. The tortoise coming and all that. But
I think that has to do with the pace. So it was supposed to be completed in 2 years, and they are saying it took all this while, almost 8 years. I think that's the point in there.
If that's the point,
slow pace. Though technically you can't really say depending on.
I'm to agree with you, okay, which I do.
No, I think I'm not saying.
No, but you explain it better. You explain it better.
I think that is what
you explain it better, okay? Because of course it was supposed to take 2 years and it took 8 years.
Yeah.
So if that is what our understanding is, then of course, like I said, it's deliberate. From 69 to 700 million, deliberate. Okay, let's waste time so that we can blame it on inflation, on all those funny reasons they give. So it boils down to corruption.
That's almost what, 8 times, 7 times
exactly.
the original cost. Is there any other story you want to do very quickly?
Yes.
Where we really have to.
So after being left off the hook in Ayawaso massacre, Butcher Commander plus more mayhem. I mean,
is this about Brigadier General?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we followed the story. We don't need to go back to the story.
For the sake of time.
What's your take
So, and then I have Agyemang Chiefs ditch Bawumia and rally behind JM. And then I also have another EC MPP coalition on mask. Party executives en route as presiding and polling station officers in Ashanti region. So, because we don't have time, I think I'll just, be doing with the headlines. Show us Bawumia's pedigree, Alan to Kwadwo. All right. And then my favorite, Ghana Catholic bishops advocate for ecological citizenship and peaceful elections amid concerns.
They've also said that if you are found to be in Galamsey or something, if they get to know, if you come to church, make any donations, they will not. And I think not just because I'm Catholic, but that's how we have to go. You can't say, oh, that person is an armed robber. But when the armed robber comes to church and makes a donation, that one you are taking it.
You see,
if you know that this person is dabbling in this.
But there are a couple of people involved in illegalities, which almost neighbors know. Okay, this example is one way to fight corruption. I mean, imagine being, let's say, a mass server or whatever you are in church, very respected. And then you come to make a donation. And then, your Catholic priest stand in front of the congregation and says, look, we can't accept your donation because we think where you got your money from is illegal. Galamsey, you are destroying people's kidneys and livers. And you are destroying our water bodies and then our forest reserves. And so we can't take your money. We suspect, or we've heard, we've been convicted of stealing, of involving yourself in armed robbery. And because of that, we cannot accept your money. This is the way to go. Right. This is what we have been lacking. The naming and shaming is being started by the Catholic Church, and we should support it. Okay. And I have to confess I'm a Catholic as well. And so I support this, entirely.
All right.
I support.
I think we have to end there with your get his reactions quickly, because I've not even done my paper yet. Quick reactions.
I support the name and shame. I think it's one thing that we have been calling for in a very long time. And even the Ashanti, during the conference that was held in Kumasi, said that within the room, the conference room where they were seated, they knew very well those of the
Chiefs,
people
yes,
who are involved in Galamsey. He started distilling some of his chiefs who were involved in Galamsey. And I think that the church should take it up, just as the Catholic stated. And we should not go by the adage that Sikafi any baby. Once it's killing people, once it's destroying the nation, it is Sikafi, and we need to be able to deal with it. Now, the flower pot interchange project, and then I would build it on your point and your question, that should it always be the case that the cost or budget in terms of infrastructural development would always go up? I'm not quoting you verbatim, but of course, there has never been a case where an infrastructural project or a budget has come down. Exactly. It's always going to go up. But you see, it's two things. The lack of the continuity of these projects. All right? When a government has refused to continue a former administration's projects, that is because probably they are looking at avenues, as you have said, to redesign the project financially and see what they can also benefit from. A typical example is the cocoa roads. Yes. It was started by I think the NDC in 2016 or 15. When the NPP took over in 2017, they said they were going to investigate what had gone into these contracts.
Financial review, yes.
Financial review.
Yes.
Now, from the time all those projects were halted till today, nothing has come of it. Now, if these contractors had worked to about a 70% completion, 60% completion, that is Ghana's money. Now, you would go onto these projects and you realize that they have been washed off by rains and other elements, all right? Now, you would have to go back to the drawing board and start this entire project again, which is going to cost Ghana money. And that is basically causing financial loss to the state.
All right.
All right. Now, you notice that this is a project that has been started in 2017, or is it 2016 by the John Mahama administration. They have not been able to explain to Ghanaians what actually caused the upping of the financing or the budget of this whole contract. And I think they need to explain to Ghanaians, because part of the money is a loan, I'm told. Part are resources that were gathered by the government of Ghana. And so whether or not these are monies that are supposed to be for Ghanaians, and I think that there is a need for us to look at it.
All right.
Infrastructure financing is important, and that is where most of these political parties get their political fundings from, aside Galamsey.
All right. So in maybe some 40 seconds, I'll wrap through the daily graphic. Economy on recovery course, the president is saying that, driven by robust performances across construction industry, agriculture, consumer demand, and tourism. That's according to Mr. President. Of course, he was at the new Bank of Ghana HQ yesterday. Customs, there's been a seizure of firearms at the Tema port. I'm talking about 53 pistols, 74 magazines, and 65 pieces of live ammunition concealed in 3 suitcases in a container. We are not going to react to these stories. I'm just putting them out. And Section 138 of Customs Act 2015, Act 891, the non-declaration and concealment of firearms and magazines and live ammunition amounts to smuggling and concealment of weapons, contravening that section, 138. And finally, I don't know, some of you would remember, government hands over reconstructed Nigerian High Commission building. You remember it was down. The government has reconstructed the Nigerian High Commission building that was demolished in June 2020 by some individuals under the cover of darkness and handed it over to the Commission. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration spoke about this. Let me see. The Minister further called for review of other costs such as medical. Okay. We don't have the cost here, but it's definitely something we ought to look into. I remember I spoke to the High Commissioner around this time. But gentlemen, we're grateful for your time.
Not about how the president is lying to us about an economic...
I think you could choose a better word then.
Of course. I mean, we all know that the economy is not bouncing back. It's further deteriorating, I mean. How can you tell us the economy is recovering?
Alan was in Bono yesterday. He's in Bono East today.
Okay.
And then the reception has been very great. Thank God.
Gentlemen, thank you. Nanaya Osapong is political assistant to the Alan campaign. Osei Kofi Akwa is National Communications Director with the CPP. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Interestingly, both of you are dressed like Afafanto.
well, I am more of...
You know, the CPP... believe in infrastructural development and industrialization.
You don't go there.
No, and
they
love everything industrialization.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports. Here with me, Muftao Nabila Abdullahi. The Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association had a meeting on Wednesday to discuss some latest developments in Ghana football, especially the performance of the Black Stars in this year's African Cup of Nations qualifying campaign. What Joy Sports has picked up from that meeting is that the Executive Council could not reach a decision on the future of the technical team led by Otto Addo. And we understand that Otto Addo has been invited to his next meeting on Wednesday to present his report and explain to them why he should be allowed to keep his job as head coach of the Black Stars. Sources have told Joy Sports that the president of the Ghana Football Association, prior to meeting the Executive Council, had a meeting with the head coach Otto Addo and asked him to speak to him about some of the challenges he's encountered as head coach of the team. We're also made to understand that the technical team, which is currently being headed by Otto Addo, a chunk of it was put together by the Ghana Football Association, by Otto Addo rather. Apart from the appointment of John Pencil as the assistant coach of Otto Addo, the rest of the technical team was appointed by Otto Addo. Hence, they believe that Otto, who was given the free hand to work with his backroom staff, should be taking responsibility for the failure of the Black Stars to qualify for the African Cup of Nations. In a conversation surrounding whether Executive Council members should resign from their roles, one of the things we're made to understand is that no one within the Executive Council is going to resign because they were not appointed to occupy those positions. They were elected. So before any of them would be walking away from the role, they would need to have discussions with the people who elected them to occupy those positions before they tender in their resignation letters. According to sources, again, we're also made to understand that there's going to be the likelihood of the reconstitution of the technical team of the Black Stars after that meeting next week, Wednesday. And guess what? There's a division within the Executive Council right now. There's that block that says that Otto Addo should be fired with immediate effect. And there's the other block that also argues that Otto Addo should be maintained. Those who say Otto Addo should be fired, these are their reasons. One, in the contract that was handed to Otto Addo, one of the KPIs was that he should qualify the team to the African Cup of Nations. And failure to do so meant that he could lose his job. And he has not been able to satisfy that KPI in his contract. But there's also the other group. That other group argues that, as we speak, The severance package due CK Akono after he was sacked in September 2021 hasn't been paid yet. Also, the severance package due Chris Houghton after he was fired early this year hasn't been paid yet. But the monies that were due Milovan Rajvac after he was fired in February 2022, that money has been paid. But they say that we cannot continue to sack coaches and pay them huge amount of money as their severance packages, since the Ministry of Youth and Sports is reluctant to pay some of these monies. So they say it doesn't make enough financial sense for them to part company with Otto Addo right now, hence their decision to keep him as the head coach of the team. However, as I mentioned earlier, Otto Addo has been invited to come to the Executive Council meeting next week, Wednesday, with his report and explain why he should not be sacked as head coach of the team. We'll have details of all these on my Joy Online pretty soon. But let's still stay on issues surrounding Ghana Football Association. And the president of the football governing body, Keto Kriku, on Wednesday presented 9 buses to the top 3 clubs in Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3 in the Ghana Division 1 League. According to him, this donation that has been handed to a club, they intend to give more to Premier League clubs as well as Women's League clubs. Let's hear from the president.
It promises to be a very short ceremony. Our clubs are very much represented here. The buses are ready. Right after this ceremony, you can drive them away. They are your buses. Let me also mention that our clubs participating in the Women's Premier League are also part of this strategy. And in the next few days, 4 clubs from the Women's Premier League will also, 4 clubs from the Women's Premier League will also take home one of each of these buses. On that note, I very much want to thank my ESCO, who are represented here, for the belief and for the trust in the vision. We have said that it's important for us to fix the fundamentals. One of the fundamental needs of our clubs is transport. We have also said that it's important for us to create wealth and to share wealth. And if you remember, I did say in Kumasi that through our collective performances at that time, our inflows had increased, and we're going to give part of our inflows to our clubs. This is a living testimony of that promise. So as we go along the journey of fixing the fundamentals, we also create wealth and we also share the wealth for all of us. Today, it is the turn of our Division 1 clubs. Tomorrow, it may be the turn of our Women Premier League clubs. A day after tomorrow, it may be regional football, and next, and then the next, and then the next. Again, on behalf of the Executive Committee, I want to thank you very much for the support. On behalf of our clubs, thank you very much for being patient, because Kumasi and today has been a long journey. But you've been patient, you've been positive, you've believed in the vision, and today it is real.
Well, the buses have been presented to the clubs, but one of the buses, according to the recipient, New DBRC, they say that the bus is not good enough. Let's take a look at the interior of that bus as its seats are torn as though it is a 1948 bus. This is according to Mickey Charles, who took the video after touring the bus.
Tender, na me didn't throw Sanamania, dear baby. I did oh, yeah, no, I and I have come. Also, Martin's buses. Yeah, I said, you have a bucket of buses. Now, why all this our bus with a Martin? Say, what a bus will port at the Maclasa. Okay, bus and refusing at it and a number. What I got to Toyota Crown boy, as I who died. Yeah, one of the guasin. One of my guasin. I've had a long video. One of the guasin.
Well, these are the new buses presented to the clubs. And in fact, Joy Sports can report that some clubs say that they will demand the immediate resignation of the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okweku, from office, and also his entire executive council for what they describe as scam. What we've picked up is that these are not actually the buses the GFA procured. However, the football governing body was unable to clear those buses from the port. Hence, they engaged a private company to clear the buses. That private company that cleared the buses decided to exchange those buses with these ones. These are what some of the clubs are saying. Joy Sports cannot independently verify these claims. However, as and when we do have details of these claims, we're putting them out in our subsequent bulletins. But these are the claims of the clubs, as they say that they've been presented second-hand buses by the leadership of the Ghana Football Association. And in fact, in that Congress that was held in Kumasi somewhere last year, the GFA president had promised them new buses. So they are wondering why they will be given second-hand buses. So that is clearly what is happening right now in relation to the Ghana Football Association. And Ghana midfielder Abdul Fattah Issahaku, he suffered an injury in Ghana's AFCON qualifier against Angola in Luanda last week, Friday. Now, he's undergone surgery and he has shared pictures of himself after successfully going through the injury. Let's take a look at the picture after Fattah Issahaku posted it on his social media pages on Wednesday afternoon, indicating to the world that, yes, he went through an injury. And in fact, we're also made to understand that about 13 players out of the 25 players that were called up by Otowado suffered the injuries. Let's take a look at the picture on your screens right now. Yes, so that's the picture there of Abdul Fattah Issahaku, who underwent the surgery. And this is what he wrote, that he said that his surgery was successful, and I just want to tell you that I am okay and I'm feeling good after the surgery. I want to thank everyone for your best wishes. So Abdul Fattah Issahaku there, he posted this on Instagram yesterday. Alhamdulillah, all glory to the Almighty Allah. My surgery was successful. That is Abdul Fattah Issahaku. Ghana Athletics, they have been nominated by World Athletics as the Athletics Federation of the Year. The athletics governing body in the country in the last 10 years, according to World Athletics, have positioned themselves as one of the best-run federations in the world. Hence, their nomination to be awarded as Athletics Federation of the Year. Ghana set a national record of 38.07 seconds in the last World Athletics Championships, which took place in Oregon. And the athletics governing body also over the years has been able to produce athletes who have clocked sub-10 in their events. Notably, Benjamin Azamati, who was able to do 9.90 seconds about 3 years ago, prior to the World Athletics Championships, and James Dazi, he held the world time of 19.79 seconds in the 200 meters prior to the World Championships in Budapest last year. Ghana Athletics have been able to get this recognition because of the kind of athletes they've been able to churn out in the last few years, hence their nomination as World Athletics Federation of the Year.
Shaqiri Ichoriche. Shaqiri, can he convert his bronze?
That is your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com, and as I mentioned, we'll be giving a chronology of what transpired at the Ghana Football Association Executive Council meeting on Wednesday. And also, just briefly, something is brewing at the National Sports Authority. Apparently, many people had thought that the decision of the president to sack Professor Peter Chumesi was going to curb the rot that was happening at the authority. Unfortunately, that is a turnaround. The e-ticketing company that was engaged to sell tickets and send the money to the National Sports Authority. Apparently, we're not doing so, to the extent that they owe the authority up to about 1 million Ghana cedis. Hence, the gentleman was arrested and they've been given a payment plan. That money was paid in 3 tranches. Guess what has become of the money? It has disappeared from the accounts of the National Sports Authority. Joy Sports will be sharing details in our subsequent bulletins.
You're still watching the AM show on Joy News. Right before we get into the next conversation on the show, that's the AM exclusive segment, I want to tell you about CompuGhana's cashback season, which has been named as Prime Cashback Season for this year. And it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. Now, this Prime Cashback, CompuGhana is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Media, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, Itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on all products. You know, CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, from mobile phones and electronic products like laptops, printers, desktops, mobile phones, television, fridges, home theaters, air conditioners, gas cookers, and many more. And what's more amazing is this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prices with instant gifts and cash prizes for your shopping experience. So when you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team. Answer a question correctly and win instant cash and gifts. You deserve this opportunity too. So rush to CompuGhana now. The promo runs from now to December. So visit CompuGhana.com or simply call 0302 752 020 for more information. And I know you're excited, but I'm also excited. But before we get into the conversation, let's talk about Medicas Hospital. It's a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. Spacious wards built with your family in mind. A warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind. And we've assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Ya Osafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. And we offer general medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, we offer a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. There is also a 24-hour pharmacy that ensures you will always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicines. And guess what? We bring you the most powerful medicine of all time, simple human kindness and empathy. And we take pride in holding ourselves to the highest attainable standards. And we accept all forms of payments, including from private health insurance companies. Now, where can you locate Medicas Hospital? At number 10 Kincho Street, near Ashalebutre School Junction. Or you can simply call 0501 477 340. Or reach us on all social media platforms at Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Today on AM Exclusive, we interact with a major mouthpiece for women empowerment and development in the country. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the ACT Foundation and also the chairperson of the Civic Forum Initiative. In the studio with me this morning is Dwamena Aboagye, live to get into a conversation. Good morning and welcome to the AM show.
Good morning, sweetie. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
No, it's my pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
And I mean, let me start from trying to unravel who you are in a few minutes before we get surgical with the current affairs. So a lawyer, a women's empowerment advocate, a Christian theologian, minister and counselor, lecturer and public speaker. And you're beautiful, acting like it's all so easy. How heavy is the hat you wear?
Well, I don't know if it's heavy. I just know I love what I do. And I always think that it's a calling, all of who I am, if you like. I think God meant me to be this way because sometimes it's puzzling to myself, but it's fine. I love what I do. And for me, that matters.
All of who I am. So who are you?
Well, you've already said my name is Angela,
Yeah.
okay, but I am a nice person.
Yes, I agree.
I love people.
Yeah.
I work with people. I've worked with people most of my life, especially women, young women at that. You want to know whom I'm married to? I'm married to Dwamena Aboagye.
But I think I'm mostly curious about your background and what led you to become this powerhouse that we know now, who's advocating for women and children and all that. Is there a significant situation, circumstance, something in your background that gave you that clarion call, that this is what I want to be doing with my life?
Of course, but let me mention my children also before they cut off my head.
Okay.
So I have Frida, Abna, Nanekuya, and Kweku. So I have 4 of them and 2 grandchildren. That settles it. But well, if you're asking about how I got here, I grew up with a strong sense of not liking injustice. And I don't know why my heart was drawn particularly to women, but I think it comes from just observing things as I grew up. You know, when we grew up, we didn't know much about discrimination, oppression, you know, being excluded from leadership, things like it wasn't. I grew up in a middle-class family, let me put it that way. My father was a lawyer, my mother was a homemaker and a baker at times, you know, and a bit comfortable, you know, nothing too. But I realized that there were big differences between my father's life and my mother's life. That was my first learning about the relationships between men and women. I mean, I used to think that, okay, if given the same chance, knowing the kind of person my mom was, and very, very intelligent, why didn't she get the same chances to advance? Because they come from similar backgrounds, in a sense. To advance to become a lawyer if she wanted to. She just wanted to be a teacher. But her parents said, I mean, you've gone to Standard 7, very good school, Kita Convent. You've been prepared to marry
and have
an elite, And so who would marry you if you advance in your education? And so my father got to be the lawyer, my mom got to be the homemaker. He could go and come in as he pleased. And I didn't think mom had that chance. You know, I was wondering what would happen if one day mommy would say to dad, you know, I just want to go and sit with my friends, and when you come home, just prepare your dinner. You know, there's something in the fridge. And the hell would have broken loose. You know, so I learned very quickly that no, something is not right here. I couldn't figure it out quickly, but as I grew, as I went through school and the university, I joined a few active clubs in the schools, like the Ghana United Nations Students Association, GUNSA, where I really cut my teeth in terms of advocacy, learning about international law and all of those things and how they impact us. And then getting into the university, studying law, family law, and all the differences, even in ownership of property, you know, conjugal rights, the kind of things that it really settled me that that there was something that needed to be spoken for. And so at that time, I think there in my heart, God birthed the passion I have for working on women and women's issues and, you know, all of that together.
Hence, the ARC Foundation.
Yes.
Which is the only foundation that has shelter for battered women. And children.
In terms of being a domestic violence shelter, that also takes care of people who suffer other kinds of violence, gender-based violence, like rape, sexual assault, incest, child marriages, and so on. They're only formally known. There may be some private ones, I have no idea. But I've worked so long in this sector that if there were private ones that are running and operational, I should know. So I would say the only formally known domestic violence shelter in Ghana since 1999. I know there's a shelter for widows up north. There is something for people who are fleeing child marriages. I know there's an anti-trafficking shelter in Accra, some place, and shelters for children, you know, abused children and so on. But the kind of work we do, that's still the only one I do.
Do you work closely with DOCSU?
We couldn't, we couldn't do it any other way. We have to. DOFSU refers cases to us. We refer cases to them. And right from the beginning, when DOFSU was Waju, we were there. Okay. We were part of the advocacy that brought about the Women and Juveniles Unit, together with other lawyers, several other people that I can't remember, Sheila Menkapre, Mo, Betty Mo, Didrisu, all of those, okay? And we supported DOFSU. We were part of those who gave DOFSU its first benches. The first office was at Ministries in Accra, and it was headed by a very feisty, focused, determined woman called Mrs. Giftianin Botwe. And I tell you, the kind of work she did grounded DOFSU in terms of its mandate. I always pray that there will be more such women, you know, yes, in the DOFSUs as we go along, because it's expanded since then. So we work with them. We work with Social Welfare Department. We work with other civil society and organizations and NGOs. You can't do this work without being networked with other. Yes, you just can't do it.
And for 25 years, you've been operational. What would you say has been the biggest challenge? Or should I say, how would you measure the impact of your work in terms of violence prevention, policy changes or influence and all that? How would you measure it?
We've been in all those places. I mean, so now we have a Domestic Violence Act in Ghana, 2007, with regulations and even a national plan of action, policy and plan of action. We were in there, in the thick of it. Let me say maybe in the leadership of it. Okay, so, and we wouldn't say just us, but with other people. Okay, we were part of, we advocated for that law for close to 10 years. Okay, together with Gender Center, LAWA, name them. And we had to do things for it to come into fruition. You know, we had to go on vigils and marches and pound the doors of policymakers and legislators and so on. And then after that, we also had to have the regulations and the plan of action. We've been in there through research to drafting pieces of the legislation and all of those things, helping parliamentary committee to put it together, all of that. You know, so you might say that's an achievement for us, because we work directly in the area. You can't do this work without the legislative frameworks that are necessary. But you know, in Ghana, we love to do the laws, then implementation becomes a problem. So that has also been a big challenge, getting very important aspects of that law implemented. For example, protection orders. Still, a victim has to find a lawyer to file for protection orders before the courts, and lawyers cost money. And sometimes we have to find money to help lawyers.
State attorneys, right?
Yes, but they don't take up those cases.
Oh, they don't?
Legal aid should, but legal aid itself, the Legal Aid Commission itself is inundated with issues and cases. They're doing their best. Okay, so sometimes survivors have to find lawyers to help, and we thank God for lawyers who would help charge a lower fee, okay, so that they can take their cases. The police can do it, but for some reason, the police is not all the time up to speed in doing these protection orders. We have to have the Domestic Violence Fund up and running. We hear the government has put money in it, but those of us who are on the ground are getting next to nothing. It doesn't make sense to us, okay? We also know about, for example, free medical treatments. At least when you get defiled or you're abused, you're supposed to be provided with the treatment for the police form to be filled. It's a policy issue. We've gone back and forth with this, and for me, it's not rocket science. I don't know why we would do this to a whole host of people who cost us up to $286 million annually from an ISA report, from time lost at work and treatment. 286 million. This comes from ISA. It doesn't make sense.
So in your estimation, we are just not prioritizing this enough?
No. I mean, people think, oh, it happened to that girl. We work with girls who have been abused by their fathers and have children by their fathers, you know, or brothers, or a woman who is running from their husband because they are strangling them to death and things. This is our human capital. This is our human capital, and it's more endemic than we think. 1 out of 3 women in Ghana, adult women suffering abuse.
One?
Yes, out of
three women in Ghana suffer abuse.
27% to 30% of adult women in any type of relationship has suffered intimate partner violence. This is it's in the data. It's all over it hasn't changed in the last 10 years. Okay, so just look at our population and count time lost at work, time treating injuries, time for the children who need to be organized to go to school, this and that and that. When women suffer, the whole nation suffers. But it suffers in a way that people think, oh, we don't see it. You know, the moment taxes go up, everybody knows taxes have gone up.
Okay.
But when women are suffering,
everybody suffers.
Yes.
And let me bring in the affirmative action. I know you were leading the charge for the passage of this law. Now we have it as a law.
Yes.
But what gaps have you identified? You talked about the laws are not the problem. It's the implementation of them. So what are the gaps that you've identified that we should start looking at ways to, should I say, nip them in the bud before it blows up in our faces in terms of the implementation of this affirmative?
So again, this shouldn't be too difficult because we've been at this journey since 1998. When there was advocacy for a policy. In fact, a policy came out. And I want to use this occasion to thank my friend, my advocate and partner, Sheila Minka-Premo, who has been the chair of the Affirmative Action Coalition, among other things, for really seeing this to the passage level together with all the other advocates. The problem, again, with implementation is that, first of all, we are situating the commission in the Ministry of Gender. And the Ministry of Gender itself needs huge capacity. It needs resources. It needs, because already, even the minister chairs about a number of committees, sub-units, okay? So, I mean, if I start this, we won't finish. So, if we are going to put this implementation machinery within the ministry, then the ministry's capacity, ability, skill, and what it takes to deliver will be the first thing to look at. Because the ministry is going to have, the commission is going to have to look across the sectors from public to private to traditional sectors to see who is actually making sure that women are included in all the areas of leadership, governance, and so on. It's huge work.
Okay.
Without capacity, you can't do it. But you see, the other institutions are on the ground. So if you're able to coordinate well, if you're able to mobilize resources, if you're able to have focus, you will succeed to a large extent. That's why I'm thinking capacity for the Ministry of Gender and National Women's Machinery is absolutely important, not just for affirmative action, for the Domestic Violence Secretariat, for the Anti-Trafficking Secretariat, for the Child Marriage Secretariat, for the children who seem to have fallen off, you know, the scale in terms of their protection, for the children, for issues of gender equality, and for issues of women's empowerment. All of these are different issues that need to be enabled.
I think I'll circle back at the tail end of our conversation and talk about what feminism is and what it's not. But I want to move the conversation into our politics. I think on 19th, 2 days ago, Dr. George Ogufo-Dampare met with the Civic Forum Initiative about their preparedness to deliver free, fair elections, ensuring. In fact, yesterday they even met with management of media houses to assure them that they're safe. It's just 16 days to the elections. What would you say? How would you say? How prepared are we going into the polls in terms of security, in terms of credibility of the Electoral Commission, in terms of voter apathy? Because I've read a lot of articles about you. In fact, when there was that impasse between the NDC and the EC, you said that they should commit to, an independent audit and all that. You've been waxing lyrical. What do you think?
I like your terminology, waxing lyrical.
Yeah.
Well,
where are we now?
Where are we now? That's a Hydra-headed question you just gave me because you have to look at it. I don't know how I'm going to address this.
Let's start from the EC.
Well, let me say that, being a Christian at this time is one of the most powerful things I feel when it is getting to elections because, we don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
So let me start with there.
Okay.
We don't take it for granted at all. You are in a country where you still have vigilantes gone in other shades and colors with new names and so on. They're there.
Yeah.
We're in a country surrounded by countries that have been hit by terrorist attacks. By the grace of God, we still seem to be in a cocoon, but we know that they are sleeping cells. We're in a country where there is monetization of politics. Unfortunately, yesterday, I heard Katiadi, NCC, talking about it very strongly. You know, we're in a country where we have a duopoly, okay? We don't seem to have a third way out. And the duopoly sometimes take us for granted. You know, it's like, we know you vote for us. You know, that makes them the political class, right? If it's not NDC, it will be MPP, okay? So the partisanship is strong. And sometimes we worry that if we all don't, if we are not rational about it in terms of wanting to keep this country together, you know, things may go out of hand. I'm telling you, in other elections, we have been pushed to the brink sometimes. Yeah. And I'm telling you this because I've been involved with Civic Forum Initiative since 2008. And it's taken, thank God, we have elders in the country. We have Abrewes in the country. We have people who would do a lot of work in the background to make sure that we don't get there. So at this time, too, I want to thank those people. I'm not mentioning any names. They know themselves. Sometimes they would go here, they would go there, they would talk to this person.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. So that has happened a lot, for which we are very grateful. And we hope that they will continue. The EC, I believe the EC is doing well. Look, it behoves all of us to strengthen our institutions.
Okay.
Okay, and the EC is one such institution that doesn't have to be dragged through the mud, but it must be held accountable. If we think that there is an issue that needs to be discussed, brought out to the fore, it has to happen. So they shouldn't feel anybody is hitting at them. And I don't think they feel that. I believe that the commissioner herself, Jean Mensah, is, you know, put together well enough to know that it's not for hate of her. We know some people can be naughty. So rather, let's encourage it, but at the same time, give it the critique it needs to be able to do a good job. After all, they are not bad on the scale of, if you look at African elections, you know, global politics and elections and so on, they are not bad at all. So let's strengthen it further. If we find anything for which we have to say something, let's say it. Let's not be shy of saying it, but let's say it. But let's make sure we are not breaking them apart, but actually putting them together well enough to continue to drive excellent elections in this country.
You said the EC is doing well. I want to stay on that.
Not too bad at all.
Yeah.
Not badly. I mean, they are trying to respond to issues as they come to, which is also a good thing. Opening this up for media to even come to IPAC, I think it's all an improvement. A friend of mine used to say, if you have bathed, and you go and take another bath, it doesn't spoil anything. You are clean, okay, keep bathing.
Yeah.
I mean, you get cleaner probably. So it's okay, you know, for them to be as transparent
in your
as
engagement with citizens, do you sense that there's apathy? Do you sense
there
that
is. There is apathy. There's apathy because it's like, it's the same. You know, that's the general feeling. They'll come and make all these promises, and then, you know, there's something I have concerns about. You know, we set up our legislature and our representatives there as lawmakers who use policy to draft, you know, policy reasons, cogent policy, to draft laws for us that will guide us. We've turned them into development officers. And that, for me, is part of the reason why, no matter how they try sometimes, it looks as though people are not happy with them. Because development is supposed to happen at the local level. They are supposed to use what they have at the national level to push for policy and legislation.
But are they empowered enough? Are they resourced enough?
You know, it's not this thing about sometimes I so much want to get into power that I'll say anything to get there, which I believe is actually having an impact on our legislators and the excellence that they can produce within the legislative frameworks, you know, the parliament and so on. I don't know when we are going to have that conversation again, but I worry when I hear people want them to come to funerals, want them to go to baby naming, want them to pay their school fees, take them to hospitals. Yes,
you know,
build hostels, build roads, build this, and they are canvassing these things. And then the DCEs and the local people who are actually supposed to be at the fulcrum of our development, and part of it is also national government, because they don't want to decentralize, especially fiscal decentralization. That is why, you know, but then we are not holding those people who are accountable at the local level to our development process. And it's having a great impact on Parliament. They have to rush and build toilets at a time when they have to be sitting, talking about laws, talking about our international agreements, watching over the executive.
Which begs the question, do you think these DCs or decentralized local governments, do you think we should be electing them into office rather than appointing them by the
I think it's time.
Yeah.
These days, they don't even hide when they are standing for assembly positions. They put the parties by their names. Yeah. They don't even hide, so why are we pretending? So we've been having this conversation. IDEC has been having it with other civil society organizations and with the government about amending our constitution. You know, it's about time. I think we shouldn't pretend. Are we hypocrites? We shouldn't pretend. It's time to change.
So you mentioned African elections, and it brings something to mind, something that I came to light yesterday about some ammunitions and guns that were confiscated at the port. And the historical, you know, examples of violence, election-related violence in Africa, makes me wonder, what is this enthusiasm about when it comes to elections? Yeah. I've heard people who tell you, I don't want to be in an African country when it's time for election.
Yeah.
But in the Western world, well, it's about policies, it's about the economy, it's about debates. Ours is about who has better guns.
Yes, sometimes.
Why do you think is the reason why our mindset when it comes to elections is always skewed towards violence, preventing violence, avoiding violence, guns? What is happening?
Well, let me be positive. Again, Ghana is not doing badly.
Okay.
You know, there's this thing about give the dog a bad name and hang it, you know. So sometimes you can worry yourself to death when actually there's a lot to praise the country for. Yes, there are guns. Yes, you know, there's a lot going on that we need to talk about. We need to deal with very strongly. But let's also say that on the whole, when it comes to violence in elections, it's bad, but it's not bad, okay? And I'm not saying let's compare this.
Bad.
Exactly, so we don't want to slip down. We want to go up, okay? That's very important. The arms trade across the sub-region is a cause for concern because Ghana has porous borders. And sometimes, yes. Not only that, I talked about, you know, the terrorist countries hit by terrorism around us. Our issue now, and I don't know whether we are connecting it very strongly, is Galamsey. Galamsey has given us the excuse to bring in more arms. And you would think that
say
people...
that again. Galamsey has given us the excuse...
Yes, to bring in more arms. Private companies have people who are wielding arms in our country saying they are protecting whatever for God knows what. For which people? Their own pockets. And so people may not even be thinking about elections and guns, but it's coming through this channel. And therefore, if anybody wants to do rabble-rousing for elections, you can be sure Galamsey and guns are connected. There is a connection that we need to understand and begin to look at it very closely during elections and even after elections, assuming we are praying that nothing happens or very, very few incidents happen. We have to deal with the Galamsey threat because the Galamsey threat is increasing the number of arms in our country.
How are we faring against the fight?
That's another matter. I mean, I think we've lost it.
We've lost it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know whether to say this, but I thought that our last bet was Labour.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know.
Who was it that said, was it Samson, that the only language that government understands is Labour's strike?
Yes, because they know what it will do to the economy immediately. So if I tell you my heart didn't break, I'll be lying. And it wasn't as though we wanted to cripple this economy. Shake small. Because you see, from what I'm reading, The soldiers went on the ground,
Yeah.
left.
And then
everybody is back.
Yeah.
When you're flying from Accra to Takoradi, your heart will bleed. I mean, and the nature of this existential threat, I know we've spoken about, I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
And I know there's a lot of enthusiasm going into the elections,
Yes.
and everybody's looking forward to what exactly is NDC or NPP, or if it's Movement for Change, going to do differently. But how do we actually, now that you say that we've lost the fight because Labour couldn't shake small, like you said.
Somebody has to bring back the fight, okay? Even if you lose, you are still alive, right? So you can fight another day.
Okay.
So it has to come back. That fight has to come back. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard women as strongly on this matter as I would have wanted to. I don't know what women as mothers, wives, workers, whatever, feminists, whatever, can do to ginger this fight again from within our homes onto the public thing. Because guess what? Water issues, women. Energy issues, women. Environmental degradation, women. Forests are depleted, women. Food is unavailable, women. Nothing on the market, women. Everything that's happening with this Galamsey in the whole chain of it has to do fundamentally with women and our lives, our children, our work. The men, yes, because they are human beings, they'll be affected. But we will look for the water. We cook the food. We go to the markets. We go to the drinking places to pull water out of the rivers and the wells.
We care for the children.
We care for the children. When they fall sick, exactly, we bear children who are malformed.
Yeah.
The trauma mothers are going to face as a result of Galamsey, we haven't even begun to imagine yet. Okay, so it's so much a women's issue, though it's a national and a regional issue. It's so much that I'm thinking, how can we go into our resources and ginger the fight from within the what we usually call the private space into the public space? Because something has to happen. Labour broke my heart.
I want to probe further to get specifics in terms of something has to happen. You are chairperson of Civic Forum Initiative. What should we do as we speak? It's 16 days to the elections. Whoever wins will have their own approach to dealing with this.
Yes.
Right? But what should we as citizens be doing right now? I know that the hashtag Stop Galamsey now is still
exactly
on. But it's as if the conversations grates on our leaders, and so it keeps going down and down and down, and it's like silence now.
After Labour, I'll think media. Because let's face it, it was the media through Erastus and other media, journalists and so on, that people became very much aware of what was going on in this country. So I'm thinking that if the media once again, and all of you, not just Joy, multimedia, but media houses decide that they're going to push this very strongly, at least the next president, whoever that will be, will wake up the morning of 8th December or whenever thinking Galamsey. Because you hear it ringing in your ears so much that this is an issue a cut above the rest that is connected to almost every issue concerning our human development. That when you wake up and you have been proclaimed president, it should be the first thing ringing in your ears. And you see, we may have lost this, but don't take for granted what will come in the next.
Right.
The youth are becoming more aware. The youth are becoming more conscientized. And the youth know that it's their future at stake. So don't take for granted what may come next.
Okay, let's stay on the youth now. What do you think are the critical issues that should influence voter choice for the young people now?
Sometimes...
In addition to Galamsey, I should add.
Yes, sometimes, it's hard to speak for a group of people when you don't belong to it anymore. Then they'll say, well, you're not youth, why are you speaking for us? But, well, we've been young before, so maybe we'll take that. Yeah. For the youth, I think the most important thing now is employment. And employment that is connected with how technology is used, is advanced, how technology is integrated into their lives. So skill and technology, that is linked to employment, that makes more young people entrepreneurial, no matter what kind of profession they choose. Look, whether they are pastors or lawyers or counselors or whatever, that they have an entrepreneurial side of it that has integrated within it technological skill and use of current tools, you know, to make a living for themselves and the families they're going to build. For me, I think that's the most critical now.
Same question for women. What should be the critical issues that women should be considering going into the election?
Women, because it's, you know, it's very hard to take out one issue.
Yeah.
But of course, issues around participation is a big one. Because if you are not there, how can they talk about you? How can they understand where you're coming from? Yeah. Nobody can understand why a girl is menstruating and can't go to school better than a girl or a woman. Or you can't cross that river on a particular day and go to school.
Yeah.
A boy won't understand it. A man won't understand. We will understand that. So participation for me at all levels is key and critical. And it's also about people who understand when we talk about these things, that you know how to harness the systems and structures, the people, to be able to get into this space. Okay. For me, I think that's very critical.
We will talk about the ACT Foundation's webinar coming up shortly, but I also know that mental health is very important to you.
Yes.
And I've sat in circles where they ridicule when you talk about, I can't do this because it's not good for my mental health, or I need to prioritize my mental health. You look like some DD just going on about nothing. Do you think that we're prioritizing our mental health, not just for women, like everyone in this country? Do you think we take mental health seriously?
Oh, we are just beginning the conversation. I did my PhD research on women's mental health in the church.
Okay.
This was, I graduated in 2018, okay? And at the time of graduation, mental health was still a taboo-like subject.
Why is
in
that?
this country.
Why?
Well,
Why is
we've
that?
gone past it, thanks be to God, okay? Yes, because it's strange to people. A lot of people think of mental health as that person who is walking in the streets, naked, you know, disheveled, picking food from the dustbin and so on. Beyond that, they can't think of anything mental health. But they don't know that on a daily basis, we are dealing with stresses of life. These days, coming out, for me, it's huge. Traffic. Okay? So that alone can stress you out to a point where you become frazzled. So mental health has always been an integrated, an integral part of our lives.
Right.
But we have not been so much aware of it until recently, when people began to speak up about what they have dealt with in their own lives and how they've been able to overcome, or for some, you know, they're still in their struggles and so on. And thankfully, since 2018, you know, now I'm even on like 3 mental health platforms. It's everywhere. People are talking about their mental health. The only thing is that sometimes people trivialize these things, and so we are not able to catch the real issues. Okay? You tell them to come to work, they tell you, you know, my mental health issues are showing up today, and they're just making excuses.
Yeah.
We don't want that kind of thing. These are serious issues.
Right.
Serious issues. Depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, all manner of things that we need to deal with in our population. And yeah, we have a high population.
I'm enjoying my time with you, but please tell us about foolproofing your professional practice against sexual harassment. That is the ACT Foundation's webinar coming up on the 27th of November.
Yes.
It's a virtual session via Zoom
virtual,
at 4 p.m.
yes.
But tell us about that. What is the intention behind foolproofing your professional practice against sexual harassment?
Well, sexual harassment is an endemic, it's a form of gender-based violence in a sense. Women suffer it a lot, men also suffer it. Boys, girls, yes. Everybody is suffering, you know, from sexual harassment. But it is also one thing that's endemic in our workplaces and in many spaces of our country. It's not just a Ghanaian thing, it's a global thing. It's important now for people to understand that the legal regimes and the jurisprudence around sexual harassment is developing in our region and in our country. And so don't take for granted certain things you've taken, like somebody is passing and you hit their bottom when they haven't asked you to. You know, you say a lot of sexual jokes that are filthy in the workplace.
That's harassment, is it not?
Of course, because you are making the workplace toxic. I mean, if I come here and I hear people talking about what they did last night with their girlfriends and boyfriends and all of describing it in the workplace, and not everybody likes it, okay? And if you don't take care, people are getting smarter. They may sue your institution. They will go after not only the harasser, but the institution. Yeah. We want people to understand these issues and start behaving. Look, at the end of the day, this is about bad behavior. Okay, if we were taking read your Bible, pray every day seriously, we probably wouldn't engage in these things, but we are not taking those things seriously. That is why these things are endemic now, and that's part of what we are doing.
Just briefly on the speakers and what to expect so that we can build anticipation for those who are interested.
I'm asking people to sign up, yes.
Okay.
Go on our website, it's there. Go on our Facebook and social media handles, it's all there. Speakers, Nana Frimpong, I've worked with for several years. She is developed a lot of expertise around prevention of sexual harassment, abuse, and exploitation. Ifwa is a communications person, and she's very well versed in getting people to understand basic concepts. Rex I've worked with as our senior programs officer, an all-round kind of person. He's worked with a lot of survivors too. And yes, myself well. Some people are beginning to call me veteran. I'm not done yet.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not done yet.
I agree with you. You're not done yet. This would be my final question to you.
Yes.
And like I said in the beginning, it's on feminism.
Okay.
Do you think the fight for gender equality is the same as what feminism used to be? I remember reading a lot in university about the first wave of feminism, when it's about women's rights to own property, to vote. Second wave of feminism, where it's about give us the same opportunity to work and earn as men. Then third wave. I don't know what wave we're experiencing right now.
No wave.
This is no wave feminism, huh? But do you think
every wave.
Every wave. But we've tagged the phrase, the word feminism with so much negativity, like it's a anti-man movement.
It's not supposed to
I just want you to help us put it in perspective. What really feminism is, and whether or not it's still a relevant cause for us to fight.
It's another conversation, but let me do it in 2 minutes, because I have written about it, I've spoken about it, and so on. Now, number one, feminism comes from several strands. Okay, there's a radical, liberal, cultural feminism and all. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you see it as anti-man, you're probably looking more at the radical feminists who think men are the problem. Okay, liberal feminists often want change using the law and policy and so on, states, institutions and so on to bring about change. Okay, whereas cultural feminists will do the women's studies, that kind of thing. Yes, there are many other strands, and so basically it's about wanting to see equality between women and men, basically. And that's shared across board, for anybody who calls themselves a feminist, that you want women and men to have equal opportunities in life, and that's what gender equality is about. Not that women and men will become the same, but that they have equal opportunities, and that a man and a woman's wisdom, understanding, skill, all of those things are brought together.
But is there a place for that in our culturally?
Yes.
We are a very patriarchal society.
We
is there
are.
a place for that?
If there wasn't a place, you and I wouldn't be sitting here now. It means we've come far. Okay, yes, there was a time in this world that women couldn't be lawyers. And they will tell you why, that women cannot stand the rigors of the bar. They don't have the logical capacity of men. Now there are so many women lawyers that...
In fact, the GBA president
is
a woman.
And now some men are even saying, we don't even want to do law because it's become a woman's job. So a lot of things have been debunked. A lot of things have been won. Okay, we now take education for granted. My mother's time, I told you about my mom, and this is just a generation away. Okay, so things have changed. So there's room. And there's room for improvement. The only important thing is that everyone who says they are feminist needs to understand what kind of a feminist they are. Because you're either going on the radical bent, or you're going on some fringe, or you're staying in the mainstream. That's your choice.
Okay. Aside the webinar, what's the future of the ACK Foundation looking like?
Well, 25 years of work formally. We started before that, but 25 years we chalk because that's when I resigned from the Ministry of Justice and Attorney Generals to found the Art Foundation. This is a space that lots of people don't like to step into. You're daily taking care of people who are bruised, who are abused, who feel hopeless sometimes and sometimes have to lean on you. Yeah. But you see they have strength within them. And that's, for me, is what makes this work a happy one. Because sometimes you see people move from where they are to become empowered, strengthened. I've seen women, you know, stay at the shelter, come out, start working, you know, trading things, building their own homes, taking care of their children. And so we will continue. I am trusting the Lord that even after I'm gone, in many years to come, the arc will continue. It's work that needs to be done. We've launched what we call our Shelter Treasury Fund. And we are asking institutions to support us because, you see, we provide a service for the government. It's a critical, when COVID shut, when COVID shut people down, we couldn't shut down. We had to be rescuing people during COVID time. So we are a critical service, and we need to be recognized as such. And we want people to bring money, you know, come and support us, build the Shelter Treasury Fund so that this shelter will continue, and hopefully the next government will also provide a few more shelters in the country, because we still have to work our legalities out while people are in danger and they need to run somewhere. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Angela Dwamena Aboagye, beg your pardon, is a lawyer, women's empowerment advocate, a Christian theologian, minister and counselor, lecturer, and public speaker. And I've really enjoyed my time with you. Thank you so much.
I have enjoyed my time with you, Suti.
All right. So there you have it. That's the end of AM Exclusive today with Angela Dwamena Aboagye. There's a lot more coming your way on the AM show. You want to stay for that.
Welcome back on the AM show, and we're getting into our next conversation. But guess what? Commuters plying the Dwamena section of the Tema Aflao Highway are seething with anger over the regular gridlock caused by the stalled road expansion project on the stretch. Many say the congestion is not only disrupting their daily routines, but also taking a toll on their health. Our very own Collins Frimpong has been exploring the impact of the congestion on the motoring public and filed this report.
The Dwamena stretch of the Tema Aflao Highway serves as a critical transit route for neighboring countries like Togo and Burkina Faso. It is also a regular stretch for the motoring public from sprawling communities such as Ningo Prampram and Kpong. But the nature of the route has made it a lingering nightmare for its users. Residents, however, breathed a sigh of relief when on October 25, 2020, President Kwadwo cut short for the commencement of the upgrade of the dual carriageway to meet international standards. The daily stress of being stuck in traffic has left many feeling overwhelmed and anxious anytime they approach the road.
The traffic is affected very, very, very bad. It's very bad. If you can see from Barrier to Central University, it's about almost 10 to 12 kilometers. And somebody will be in the traffic for long, even 5 hours being in traffic. It's very bad.
The traffic is not easy. Sometimes from Central University, the traffic musa Barrier. Before you reach Accra, maybe your diesel will finish.
Assuming this morning like this, we wake up very early because of the traffic. Wake up around 3:30 that way.
The prolonged congestion on the road is not only a nuisance, but a financial burden for many. Business operators claim they are losing customers as the hours spent stuck in the gridlock disrupt schedules and undermine productivity.
With the drivers, the more you go, the more you gain. But meanwhile, this you pick one road to Central University. Imagine, I say 5 hours. From now to 5 hours. If you calculate how many hours, before I come, work stop.
If you get one trip, you will do the traffic inside all the fuel will finish for the cancer before you reach the place where you are going.
Reporting for Joy News, Collins Frimpong.
And that is the situation there. You know, I feel for them because I used to ply the stretch going to work at Prampram many, many years ago. And trust me, it can frustrate the life out of you getting to work. There were days when I would return from work, clothes on everything, you kick your shoes off and you're
just
like,
knocking
it's
off.
exhausting.
Ah, well.
I remember sometime this year, I had to go to Esuchare, and even the journey, because you have to go through that stretch, it's crazy.
I don't have that experience, but just watching this, the guy saying all your fuel will be exhausted just for a short distance. Ah, well, I don't want to be in those shoes. But thankfully, Carlos Caloni is on grounds right now with us, and he's bringing us more information, helping us put this in perspective. He's on Community 22 Junction.
25, actually.
25 Junction. Yeah. Carlos Caloni, if you can hear us, what's going on where you are and how bad is the situation?
Hello, Carlos. Can you hear us?
Twitchy, I can see the traffic situation here on the Dwamena to Tema stretch is intense. As you can see in your shots there, both sides of the road are choked now. Those heading towards Dwamena are in traffic, as well as those returning from Dwamena towards Tema are in some heavy traffic situation. Let me give you some little background about this road. This is an international road that leads all the way to Nigeria. And so if you're going to Togo, if you're going to the Volta region, this appears to be one of the shortest ways to connect to the Volta region. Now, apart from the fact that it is an international road, there are a lot of communities around here. I mean, going to the Adan area, Dwamena, Central University, as many communities as possible. And the traffic situation is not new. This has been the situation for the past 8 years, which actually pushed the government to commence some expansion work on this particular stretch. In fact, in 2020, President Kwadwo actually broke ground here for that expansion work. And that expansion work was supposed to last for some, 18 months. But some months into that construction, the DDEP was announced, and this has actually affected the construction. Even though contractors are on site now, they are not working. And this has compounded the traffic situation. And as you can see, many people are in the traffic here, and we would like to speak to a few of them to understand how long it took them from Dwamena to get here. Yes, sir. You are live on Joy News. Tell us where you are coming from and how long it took you from Dwamena to get to this point.
We are from Aflawo. From Dwamena to this place, we spent like 2 hours because of traffic.
You spent 2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this the first time you are facing this on this road?
No. Because of bad road, the bad road.
Okay.
Yeah. The road no good.
The situation you face all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you actually returning from?
We are from Aflawo.
Okay.
To Accra.
All right. What would you want to say to the authorities about the expansion work on this road?
Oh no, I would say I can't.
Okay, we appreciate your time. So that's a motorist. He said he spent about 2 hours in the traffic, and you can see in your shot there how intense the traffic is. But you can see a military vehicle coming. That's actually an immigration vehicle, and this is what happens on this road. Those in authority, some of them actually use their vehicles to beat the traffic situation whilst the civilians grapple with it. I have here another motorist to share his experience with us. How long have you been in this traffic since morning?
2 hours.
How many hours?
Almost 2 hours.
2 hours. From where?
From Dwamena going to Tema.
Wow.
And sometimes it's very hectic because it's a single lane. Meet me, I meet you. The cars They are maneuvering and all that. It's difficult here.
How is this impacting the work you do and your productivity?
If you work in Tema and you plan on leaving the house by 6 a.m., you get to work by 8:39. And from here to Tema is just 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. But you can be here for 1.5 hours, which is very bad.
Okay, so what would you want to say to the authorities?
The government should do something about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So that's a motorist actually sharing his experience with us there. And you can see in your shot the Ghana immigration vehicle GI-26. They were actually trying to dodge this traffic situation, but as soon as they saw our cameras, they found a way to, go back into the, the traffic. So as you can see, it goes all the way to the Central University area, to the Dwamena area, and it's a two-way traffic, which has really persisted for some time, and we would like to see if we can get another driver to speak to about this situation. So my name is Carlos Calodi. Okay, all right, so he will not speak to us here. We'll try and see if we can get any other, I also have here a number of drivers, commercial drivers who actually ply this road on daily basis. We want to pick their thoughts on how this is actually impacting the work they do here on the Dwamena to Tema stretch. All right, so you are live on Joy News. Give us your name and tell us the work you do here and how this situation is actually impacting your work.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Kujogako. I'm the chairman of the taxi rank at the 25 junction. Actually, for more than 1 year now, we'll not be having it because of the traffic situation. It makes our work or our production come down because when you move, it takes about 2 or 3 hours to get back to your destination. Actually, it's not helping our work at all. It's not helping us. So,
okay. If you say it's not helping you, what exactly do you mean?
What I mean is that it makes our productivity is very low because you cannot work like the way you have to work. It's making our productivity very low. We are not getting our daily sales before we can pay our daily sales, so we can pay whatever we have to do. We are not making any impact. It's having an impact on our work. We are not enjoying the work. The traffic is too much.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so let me come to you. For you, what impact is this situation, the daily traffic, having on the fuel and the amount of money you put into fuel in your vehicle?
Okay, now in Ghana, we all know that the fuel is expensive. And you've been in traffic for almost 5 hours for just Dwamena here. 10 to 12 kilometer road. It's not, if anything, if there's no road, 5-minute drive. But you've been in traffic for 5 hours and you burn all your fuel. See, and even when we are going, you have to come fast and come and pick somebody. You can't get that time to time. Instead of going more by the close of the day, you can only go 2 to 3 trips per day, which is very bad.
So that's affecting your pocket and the work you do?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so as drivers who ply this stretch, what is your word to the road ministry as well as government?
Oh, please, now we are appealing to the government to come to our aid because the traffic is affecting us a lot. So we want the government to counterweight and help us to do the road. So we are appealing to the government because we know this year is election year. We want us to help us. Otherwise, we want to show our powers.
If the road is not done, you show your powers. Tell us what you mean.
Oh, but you know that this is our year. We, the voters, this is our year. So if you don't help us in suffering, we also show our powers by not to vote for you. So if you do the right thing for us, we also support you to push you in. That's what we mean.
So, yesterday, the road ministry told us they were bringing some mobile maintenance team onto this road to ensure that they're able to patch the deplorable portions of the road to enhance free movement of vehicles. Tell us if you've seen any of such team on the ground since yesterday.
No, Tato. Yesterday we heard it, but we didn't see anything like that. We also sitting to expect to see those things on the road, but we didn't see anything at all up to date. See, look at the time now. It's almost 9 o'clock, 9 that way. Somebody will be in the traffic by this time. And we know in Ghana you have to report by 7:30 to 8. You have to report in work. But see, by this time, people are in the line. What will you get to work to do your business?
All right. So thank you so much for talking to us. We have another motorist here to share his experience with us. I believe he's been in the traffic for some time. You are live on Joy News. Give us your name and tell us where you are coming from and your experience in this traffic.
Yeah, I'm staying 25 years. And my name is Emmanuel. You see, the traffic from the factory or the road they are doing, they stop because of the runabout here, runabout for the Bombaria, this causes the traffic. Yeah, and another one too is here, the same thing. Understand?
Is it an everyday experience for you?
Every day, every morning, 24 hours, unless from maybe 10 o'clock going before.
Okay.
The traffic is too much for we.
And we hear it start from Monday to Monday.
Monday to 24, that's what I said, Monday to Monday. Sunday we are going to church, you join traffic, anytime traffic. Because of the barrier, the road they are constructing the road. They for leave the runabout, so they go free.
Okay.
Because of the runabout, the big cars can't turn. So the big truck will causing the traffic.
Okay, how do you feel about the fact that the expansion project, which commenced somewhere in 2020, has stalled?
The project should come and continue. See how the project is going on. They stop the project. So as they stop the project, they dig some places where the car can park. That place all, you see, that place all consume the traffic, causing the traffic for that place. Because where the cars will park, they construct that place, they leave it.
Okay, so what would you want, briefly, before we let you go, what would you want the government to do immediately to at least ease movement of vehicles on the road?
Immediately, the government should build some machines so that, they do some emergency roads so that if the traffic, you can swerve it.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us. So that's a motorist. He's been sharing his experience here. It's a crazy situation here on the Dwamena stretch. And a lot of motorists are expressing their concerns, as well as, passengers who actually bought this commercial vehicle. You are a commercial driver. I believe you use this road often. You are live on Joy News. Tell us your experience on this road with regards to the traffic.
Thank you. Yeah, we are facing a lot of traffic. So we want, if the government can do anything, something about it for us so that the traffic will go down small. Thank you.
How is it affecting the work you do?
Oh, we waste a lot of time on the traffic. So, like, if they will do something about it, that the traffic can go down small, it will help us.
This morning, where are you coming from? Tell us how long it took you to get to this 25 junction.
From La Paz. But today there is good small.
Oh, you mean today even the situation is better?
Yeah.
With all this traffic?
Yeah, today is good small. Because last 2 weeks Monday, we started from Afienya Junction to Bombaria. It's not easy. We spend about 3 hours in the traffic. So today there is good.
Look into the camera and speak to the road ministry. What would you want done about the situation?
Oh. The traffic is too much, so we want the minister to do something about it on the road.
Okay. Your full name again?
Joseph Kwa.
Okay, hold on for me. You have some passengers on board who also want to share their experience with regards to the road. Give us your name and tell us your experience.
My name is Robert Ofwe Mensah. Yeah, I've been living at Dwamena for the past 13 years. And then the traffic situation on the road is so terrible. For the past 3 years, we are not getting it easy at all. I left home almost 1 hour now, and look at where I am. So please, we want the government to come and do something on the road as early as possible, because it's too much for us.
How is this affecting emergency situations?
It affects a lot. I'm still in such situation because I'm going to meet a client. And looking at the time, definitely the time will beat me, but I have no option. So please, the government must do something quickly.
Okay, your full name again?
Robert Ofwe Mensah.
Okay, that's Robert Ofwe Mensah. He is just one of the thousands of passengers who ply this road on a daily basis. He's been sharing his experience as well as commercial drivers and private drivers on this particular road. Akako, it's a crazy situation on the Dwamena road, and all they are asking is for the road ministry to, come back to the road and ensure that at least the portions that are bad are, rehabilitated to ease movement here. But let me share an interesting piece with you here. On this road, at every intersection, you see police officers dotted all over from the, Tama motorway interchange all the way to Pram Pram Junction. You see 2 police officers here at the Community 25 junction, right in front of the Goodness Filling Station. As early as 4:30 a.m., they start their work all the way into the evenings around 10 p.m. And that's the toll this situation is equally having on the police officers here. And there are a number of them from here to the Mutual. So we've been trying to speak to them regarding the difficulties they go through with regards to directing this traffic. But as you know, it's difficult for them. But off camera, they've been telling us how grueling it's been for them every day. You spend so many hours directing this traffic day in, day out. That has been the situation. And if you look at the time now, one would have expected that by now the traffic would have gone down. But the situation is same. We have another motorist who wants to share his experience with us. Give us your name and tell us your experience on this road. You are a mother, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm Dufio Feridankwa. In fact, it's a very worrisome situation here. And I can't even tell when exactly the traffic is managed or it's okay. It's almost every time. And it delays works and everything. We suffer here. So we are pleading to the authorities to come in our aid and help us expand whatever the road so that we will be able.
Okay. As a mother, I believe you have kids and you need to prepare them for school. Tell us what you go through at dawn to get your kids to school.
Because of that, they were attending school at Tema, but we have changed their school for them now because we cannot manage the traffic. It will be something terrible. We have to maybe, if we were supposed to take them, you have to wake up at around 3:30 and prepare them because their father also will be going to work. So because of that, we have changed their school. Okay. Yeah, so that we can manage.
Okay, and we understand pregnant women use this stretch, to go to hospital for delivery and all that. Share some experience that you know with us.
Okay, when I got here, I had already given birth my sister-in-law, and it wasn't all that easy. So she had to go to antenatal at home, and any time that she will be going, she has to leave house very early because of the traffic. Okay. Yeah, right.
Great talking to you there. That's a mother who has been sharing her experience with us on this Dwamena. I would want my cameraman to pan to the other side, which is actually the flow of traffic from the Dwamena side. As you can see, look at the time. This is the situation. It's affecting mothers. It's affecting kids who go to school early morning. It's affecting emergency situation. It's equally affecting businesses. As you heard from those drivers, they've had to spend hours in traffic, burning fuel, and the cost of fuel. And they believe that something ought to be done about this particular situation. Today, we are still on the stretch. We are monitoring if the ministry is actually going to dispatch the mobile maintenance team to this road as they promised. We are keeping our eyes on it to see if they will be here. But those we spoke to since yesterday up to now, they have actually registered their displeasure and disappointment over the failure of the road ministry to dispatch the maintenance team onto the road to at least enhance free movement of vehicles. Yeah, so Akako, I can tell you that the situation here, it's a crazy one. You have a personal experience on this road, and you can relate what these motorists have been sharing here. Akako.
Carlos, just a few quick thoughts. Sweetie has something for you as well, but two things. The repair work, so you don't know when exactly it's going to start. As of now, you're only hoping it will commence. And the police officers, did you interact with them? What is their experience standing here every day and having to go through this from their standpoint?
Not sure when exactly the road ministry is actually going to deploy the mobile maintenance team. When they spoke to us 2 days ago on Newsnight, they gave the assurance that the following day, which was yesterday, they were going to deploy the mobile maintenance team. But we spent the whole of yesterday on the stretch. We did not see them. And today is early day. It's before 12. we are hoping, yes, we can only hope, because they've not really given us specific timelines within which they actually going to deploy. So we are hoping that they will actually be here. With regards to the police, off camera, they told us it's you know, a Herculean task for them, because, you know, these drivers, most of them are rushing to their workplaces. Many of them are trying to catch deadlines and all that. And so when they try to, you know, regulate, let me use that word, their movement, it becomes challenging for them. And so they go through a lot. And the fact that they've had to stand here for many hours is not an interesting experience. And the most painful aspect for them is that they don't even know when this is actually going to end. And you know how the temperatures are. And for these police officers to spend hours on this particular stretch, to them is a very, you know, challenging situation here. So, I mean, it's not only the drivers who are facing the impact, but the police officers are equally facing the impact. Earlier, it's important to notice, when we got to this point, there was an ambulance also stuck in traffic. So we tried to speak to the driver, and he said, you know, the vehicle from the other side, the road is equally narrow. So getting space for the ambulance to actually use the median of the road was a challenge. So imagine somebody in a critical situation, and even the ambulance cannot travel the road because of the nature of the road. You can tell that it's actually also impacting lives, it's impacting, you know, emergency situation and everything else. And so the major call from motorists and residents here is for the road ministry to do something as soon as possible to ensure the road becomes motorable and enhance free movement of people. A number of the motorists we've been speaking to also told us what is actually compounding the situation has to do with the Belakwa entrance. Belakwa is a water processing company on the stretch, and they have trucks that go in and out to pick their product. And so that also caused a lot of delay at that portion, which also leads to you know, the gridlock. And so they are asking the road ministry to do something about that particular entrance so that those trucks can use alternative routes to go through into the company, to at least ease the process. So, Akako, that has been the situation here on the ground at the Dwamena to, you know, Tema stretch. It's a crazy situation, as you can see there in your shot.
Carlos, in terms of impact, I'm curious to know if you've interacted with students or parents. Share with us. How is this affecting their mental health? I mean, by the time you spend 2-3 hours in that traffic, when you get to your workplace or school, are you able to be productive? Have you interacted with anyone with that experience you can share with us? How is it affecting their mental health in particular?
Well, that's an interesting point. We'll try to get Carlos back on that. I can tell you for a fact, as someone who has experienced that, it's excruciating.
Yeah.
Like, you know, brain fatigue, like you get tired. Like, before you get anywhere, you just feel tired. And your productivity, you lose productivity.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Tragic.
You lose productivity. It's a very delicate situation. It doesn't matter. You see, I was asking about the police officers. It matters not who is involved. Everybody in the chain, those police officers trying to assist and all of that, everybody feels it. But I think we have Carlos back now.
We do have Carlos. Carlos, I was asking if you've interacted with some children or students, and if you can share with us how this gridlock situation is affecting their mental health. Are they able to be productive, to function in school when they get to school after spending hours in the traffic?
Traffic.
My name is Nanaya Asamwa. The traffic here is very terrible. Imagine leaving home by 6 and my kids go to school here. I leave home by 4 a.m. 4 a.m. And the traffic here is terrible. My friend, is very terrible. I've been in since 15 minutes ago and I haven't even gotten to Bombaria.
So from 4 a.m. you've now been able to drop your kids at school and now going to work?
Going to work. I'm now going back to Accra. Look at the traffic. I'm still in it. Yeah.
What would you want to say to the Ministry of Road?
I heard they were coming to expand the road, but nothing is being done here. You can't see anything going on. We need the roads to be expanded for us to move. Yeah.
Okay. Your full name again?
Nanayao Asamoah.
Okay, so that's Nanayao's story. From 4 a.m., look at the time. It's almost 10 a.m. He's now been able to drop his kids off and he's now going to work. So you can imagine the level of impact on his productivity and cumulative productivity output of those who live at this part of the country. There are women who also try and see if we can talk to them. Sweetie, earlier you were asking, I really didn't catch that, but you can come back again. This is the situation. We are right in the middle of
if you can hear me, I was asking about the impact on their mental health, especially for the children and students who ply that road. Have you had any experience you can share with us? Just to put in perspective how grave the situation is and get the authorities to come to their aid as soon as possible. Can you share stories about how this is affecting the mental health of everyone, but in particular children and students?
Indeed, Sweetie, that's a very great angle. Earlier, like I said, we got here as early as 5:30 a.m. and we had some interactions with so many people. One woman I spoke to told me the story of Nanayao, where she's had to prepare the kids as early as 3:30 a.m. And she told me how difficult it is for her kids to even get up from bed, and around 3:30 to 4, when after taking their baths, they are still dozing off, and around 4:30 to 5, they've had to take their breakfast. And by 5:15, they have to leave home. And even 5:15, they still encounter the traffic situation. So on their way from the house to the school, they spend a number of hours, and the kids usually would sleep in the car. By the time they even get to the school, they are exhausted. So, of course, the mental impact of this situation is not just affecting motorists, but it's equally affecting children, underage children. Imagine you would have to, even adults, getting up as early as 4 or 3 a.m. is not easy. Apart from that, you can equally imagine the impact on their health. The fact that they've had to breathe in, there's smoke from the vehicles every day because you spend a lot of time in the traffic. So apart from the mental health, it's actually impacting their health too, because they spend a lot of time in traffic. So the impact of this traffic here on the Dwamena Road is wide. We cannot exhaust all, and the plea from road users as well as residents around is for the government to at least ensure that the intersections on this road are motorable to ensure a free movement of vehicles. Yesterday, when we came on this road, we got some information that the Pom barrier area is going to be opened up. You know, as it is now, it's a sort of a roundabout, but they are trying to open it up so that the vehicles coming from Accra will just drive straight, and those from here going will also go straight. But we don't know how that is actually going to impact or enhance traffic flow, because there are also vehicles from the Michelle Camp side heading towards the Pom barrier, as well as from Pom Township also coming to that same intersection. So the best bet should have been an interchange, which they started as part of that expansion project but has stalled. And so opening up that place, those drivers I spoke to were not really, optimistic that that development can enhance the traffic flow. So, Sweetie, I believe that we've been able to touch on your concerns. But yes, you can see the vehicles are not moving, and this can stay for the next 5 minutes. Then the police up front will now push them forward, maybe about 10 vehicles, and then they stop them again. That is the situation, Sweetie.
Well, thank you so much, Carlos Kaloni, for bringing us live updates from that Community 25. In fact, the entire Dwamena stretch and how it's impacting commuters. Thank you, Carlos. Benjamin, you have experienced this, so I don't even want to imagine how you feel watching this again live.
It's heart-rending, like I said, and no one deserves to go through this. It just, doing this, you see, you spoke about mental health. Yeah. Doing this for a week can really get you in a very... I mean, you get angry over things that you shouldn't even get angry over, and it impacts you. But before we take our breather and come through with interactions with you, yes, you, and we'd love to hear from some of you who live on that stretch when we activate the phone line shortly. Let's tell you about Syntex. Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 15 communities, giving them free water. This is to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Now, Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Did you know that? Did you also know that Syntex tanks came in so many colors and that they actually were the first to come out with inner white layers? So come to think of it, if it's not Syntex, you might as well forget about it. Now, if you are a community and you want to benefit from Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles at Syntex Ghana and nominate your community. That's it. But note, the more you nominate, the better the chances of Syntex coming to your community. Remember, it's SINTEX, Syntex tank. Don't be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, are strong, are tough.
Well, it is the calling of institutions of higher education to actively participate in the policy and development conversations within Ghana and around the world. Towards this aspiration, Central University has the pleasure of inviting the general public to a public lecture to be delivered by the Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokono. The topic is the sustainability of excellent legal education in tertiary institutions in Ghana, the way forward. This is happening on Friday, the 29th of November 2024 at 3 p.m. prompt. Venue, Best Western Premier Hotel at the airport residential area. And this public lecture is a highlight of the 10th anniversary celebrations of Central University's Faculty of Law. Their media partners, of course, is the Multimedia Group, so do well to attend. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, you get to have your say. Stick and stay. Joy News knows how to cover elections. We are your election headquarters.
You know, I was going to do something. You took the wind out of my sail, not you. But you know that when it comes to electoral coverage, you can't get it any better than Joy News. We are your election headquarters. So as we head towards election 2024, this is the place to be for all the coverage, everything.
Meticulous coverage. I love our promos. I mean, you won't see that anywhere else. I mean, let me brag a bit. I mean, Joy News knows how to cover elections. But this is the part where you get to phone in and have your say. We are ready to interact with you. And so the phone lines are open. The numbers are on your screens. Call 0302-211-691 or 692, extension 1, extension 2. Call us and let's get interactive. But while we wait for your calls to come in, I do want to remind you that it's 2 days to go for the 3rd annual seminar called Girl Get Up Seminar. It's happening at the AMA Auditorium, that is Accra Metropolitan Assembly Auditorium. It's called the Snap Cinema, the big hall. Join us from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a host of powerful women, trailblazing women. We also have a bevy of beautiful, ambitious girls who want to learn. Join us and let's get interactive as well. But our first caller has joined us. We have Isaac on the phone with us. Isaac, good morning. Welcome to the AM show. And Isaac, don't listen to us on your TV set. Speak to us directly.
Okay.
Yeah, great. So what's on your mind?
I was listening to you about the traffic on Dwamena Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talking about the traffic on Dwamena Road is very, very massive. But my problem is not about the traffic. My problem is about Michelle Camp Road from Barrier to Michelle Camp. The road is not good at all. At all. So they should try and check about that road too. Hello?
Isaac, thank you. We heard you. You said Michelle Camp thereabouts, huh?
Yeah, the road is from Barrier to Michelle Camp.
Okay, thank you for adding your voice to that.
Well, let's go to our next caller. Is it Awal on the line?
Yes, please.
Good morning, Awal. What are your thoughts for us this
Good morning. My name is Awal, calling from Bimbila.
Go ahead, Awal.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. All I want to say is I'm pleading on Ghanaians to vote for the NDC and John Dramani Mahama come 7th December. And my reasons are that although we've seen what Mahama previous when he was in office, yes, Ghanaians were not content with what he did. But from the 8 years from Nana and Dr. Mahama, I think personally, John Dramani Mahama in many sectors, talk about education, health, talk about security, talk about fire and it's also food. I bring back the former with the best Ghana and Ghanaians come out the good for John Dramani and the
Okay. Thank you, Awal, for sharing your thoughts with us. We are grateful.
We also have Isaac from Pong. Is it the Isaac we spoke to earlier? Hi, Isaac. Have your say.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Isaac. I'm calling from Pong.
What's on your mind?
The traffic situation on Barrier to Dwamena, my dear, we that are living there, it's like we are living in hell. I'm a taxi driver. Because of the traffic, even today, I may say that today is good. If it were to be tomorrow, which is Friday, you can be at one place over 30 minutes without moving. And my grandfather told me something before he died. He said, if you have a leader and you have a problem, and the leader failed to solve the problem becomes the leader, and the leader becomes the problem. So now our problems are our leaders. I don't know why we have to beg them before they have to do their responsibility. Then why are you there? If you know that you cannot do what you're supposed to do, you don't even have to accept the position at the first place. Even if you go to the estates around the 25 and those, go there and see property for sale, most of the people are living there because the hell they go through before getting to work every day. My sister, is too much.
All right.
Because of that, we the drivers, we cannot even get our daily sales. You will see the passenger there, dropping to Dwamena, you say, I will not go. Dropping to 25, you say, no. The time because you charge the person maybe 50 cedis, then you go, you took more than 3 hours because of 50 cedis. So you say, I will not go. Then the person they walk from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Right.
If you see the number of passengers that line in that barrier there to Michelle Camp to Dwamena, it's very sad. It's very sad, my dear.
All right. Thank you so much for also adding your voice to that situation. And I think that adage you're saying will stick with me for the rest of the day. If you have a problem and you fail to solve it, your leaders fail to solve it, the leader becomes the problem, and the problem becomes the leader. I think it's interesting. But we also have another caller all the way from Kumasi. Hi, good morning. You're on the AM show. What's on your mind? First, tell us your name.
Yeah, good morning, Sweetie, and good morning, Akaku.
Yeah.
Good morning.
This is Abendao from...
Oh, Abendao. It's been forever.
Yeah, it has been a while. I hope you are well.
By God's grace, yes.
Yeah, thank God. I only want to listen to the supporters of the parties. That they should take it cool. The elections that some of them will be fighting for, even the party leaders, their sons will not steal ballot box among other things. So if you don't take it cool and you take it you go and that's for nothing. So election is not about war, it's not about fight. It's just sharing your ideas. So they should take things and make sure that they remove violence or ballot boxes or whatever. If not, after all, the major benefit of the election is for the leaders, but not leader supporters. So they should take it cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Abendao, for sharing your thoughts. From right here in Accra, we have Dada. Dada, Memoachio. Sunny, I feel Dada idea, and the Achiana Memo. What are the thoughts you have for us this morning, Dada?
Mr. Kapu, money.
Money low.
For now.
By follow off one.
And then, sweetie, let me call you how Dugu used to call you, sweetie. We don't do because he's sweetie.
I knew when he said it that I was. Let's call.
Hey, Dada, hi. Okay, hi. What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, look, this is a road that I use to my hometown almost every day. And for the past 3 years now, it's so crazy on the road. I come from Tefle. Honestly speaking, first, it takes me just 2 hours or 3 hours for me to get to my hometown. But now, you can stay in traffic for that 3 hours within the Pum area. And then, talking about you moving forward to Central University is so mad. You can spend 6 hours, 5 hours in the traffic. And the big men that has the money that they can pay the police and so on and so forth for the convoys, you hear them, especially during the weekends, with the siren, ping pong, open up, and then we just pass through and go. And it's creating a lot of difficulties on the road. Look, the report that Carlos was giving out is real. It's very real. I know of the situation. I experience it day in, day out. And it's so dangerous. If you cannot construct a road and finish, who asked you to monetize the road? Who asked you to come and begin the road? And now you have created a lot of anarchy on the road, a lot of unnecessary traffic. Now, when it's time for us to go to our hometown, we are thinking of the traffic. We are thinking about the traffic that goes on the road. Now, it's making us not go to our hometown again because of the experience. Day in, day out, whether for 1 a.m., the road is fully packed with traffic.
Ah, well. Dada, and your yogas here. Thank you for calling to add your voice to it. It is well.
Well, you can still call that number 0302-211-691 extension 2. 0302-211-691 extension 2. Let's know what is on your mind. And some pretty interesting thoughts that have been shared with us so far. Some people, I love the fact that, we asked them to call. I love the fact that some people who ply that route, because, of course, if you want to also get into the Volta region, it's one of the routes you probably would use, most people would use. And he says he's in Tefle.
Yeah.
So, makes for interesting.
But let's speak to Daniel now. Daniel is calling us from Takoradi. Daniel, welcome to the AM show. Have your say.
Good morning. Thank you very much. First of all, I will say a very good morning to the Deputy Director General of NLA, Madam Homa Kesimieza, for the great work she's doing there. And secondly, what I would say about this traffic hijack is that powers has been decentralized. And with that, it takes the people within that particular area or the leadership around there to aggressively put the government on its feet. Sometimes people occupy the position, as a brother said earlier on, and they will not lobby or aggressively make sure that problems within their vicinity is resolved. So at the end of the day, we tend to attack the government. Yes, he's the head of all affairs. But sometimes we should look into our local government, those who are in charge. What are they doing? Has the problem been put on their table? When the problem was sent there, what steps did they take? Some people just take the problem, they would promise you that they are doing it, and they will feel relaxed. And this is what is causing this, because you go to certain areas, they will be hailing the government for doing a good work, because certain areas are not facing these problems, and some areas are facing it. And it happens in every government. A government will come into power or will put the campaign messages down with so many promises, and it is not everything that they will be able to fulfill.
Right.
They can't accomplish it all. Okay. But at the end of the day, they will do their part. It happens in the NDC, it happens in the MPP, and even if a different party should come, it will still happen. But at the end of the day, it depends on the decentralized leaders in the local government that have to make sure that things or the development they need in their local government has been achieved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for calling and having your say. And since we're having our say, Ben, let me have my say on this. On a very light note, no malice intended. I think someone from the Vice President's team should alert him on how closely he holds the microphone to his mouth. No malice intended. Sometimes you watch and you're wondering, can he just drop it a little bit? So those of you who are on his team, just alert him. We love listening to him. It's just, sometimes it's difficult to just focus when he's so close to the mouth, you know. All right, I just had my say.
Microphone ethics, huh? Let's take Kwadwo, our final caller. Hello, Kwadwo.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Okay. What are your thoughts for us?
I want to contribute some culture to this morning's program.
Go ahead.
There's a road from Segi, when you get to Segi, you make a left turn at Segi. It cuts all the way to Pram and joins to Boom, so that you avoid the Dwamena Road. There's just a small river where the doorway enters the sea. If the government is able to put a bridge, a small bridge, it's about 25 meters bridge across that river, this traffic will ease off. That means all cars coming from Volta, especially Aplau and then Sugakope, they will go up the road at Segi and come straight to the Pram, cross the river, and then they are gone. And that will ease the traffic seriously. It's known to the Department of Urban Roads. Why they're not building that bridge? Nobody knows why.
That's an important point. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention, Segi. Thank you so much, sir. That will be our last caller, but I just got this message come through from Na Amanua, who says, "Hi Ben, good morning. Can I talk about Kwabenya with no water infrastructure while our sister town, Agyemang, has water? Please, I am appealing to whoever comes to power to look at our roads and water problems. Thank God we have electricity. I tried to call, but no luck." So she says she had to reach out from here. The Kwabenya area, if you are getting into Kwabenya, especially if you're going to get into main Kwabenya and then go towards, sometimes I forget, getting towards Ashesi University, the name of that location again. I don't know. Sometimes it just escapes me. It is crazy. And the dust, the road, the dust. So if you've not rolled up your, windows, it's just hell. Imagine people plying that route. If you don't have an air conditioner to say you're rolling up and children are plying the routes, it's just really sad. So that's a plea from a resident of Kwabenya. We have a birthday, don't we?
We do have a birthday. Happy blessed birthday going to Mrs. Akofa Bodo, Marketing and Brands Manager of ARB Apex Bank, Head Office Accra. From your darling sister Irabna Faha, wishing you God's blessing and long life. Enjoy today to the fullest. Mrs. Akofa Bodo, happy birthday to you. But I just want to shout out Minal, watching us all the way from the north. Minal is in Stage 5 International Community School. She's Mina Mayiri Jasol. Thank you. I understand she watches us every morning. So Minal, hello to you. She's a young girl, lovely, beautiful lady. Nice. Hello to you. And Monday is your birthday. So Monday we'll celebrate you on the AM show. All right.
We are celebrating you in advance.
Yeah, we are.
In advance of your birthday. And that's how we're capping it off this morning. Of course, we're serving you Joy News Desk up next. I salute the crew that makes this happen, to everybody without mentioning names. Thank you for making the show what it is. Have a wonderful day. Joy News Desk up next.